Chapter 20, The Sister Offers Herself to You. Did you just touch me? Lin Yutong, composed now, recalled being drugged by Luo Tianhao earlier and couldn't help but ask. Now, don't be quick to blame others. I considered you as a brother, yet you had thoughts of seducing me, almost biting off my integrity. I haven't even accused you yet, Qin Feng said with no blush or hastened heartbeat, though his right index finger and thumb secretly reminisced the silky sensation. Oh, I'm sorry, Lin Yutong's pretty face turned as red as a monkey's buttocks. During the drug's effects, her consciousness was hazy, not recalling the process. Hearing Qin Feng's words, she felt so embarrassed that she wished to find a hole to hide in. How could she behave like that? How could she try to bite that thing? So filthy. Then, she cautiously said, I hope I didn't bite you. Seeing her dazed and adorable look, Qin Feng couldn't help but pinch her cheek. You should change your clothes first. I'll wait for you downstairs, he said, rising and descending. Ling Yutong touched her cheek, pinched by Qin Feng, feeling a strange sensation welling up inside her. It seemed she hadn't had such intimate contact with any boy before. Downstairs, Ling Shuang lounged with her beautiful legs crossed on the sofa, while Luo Tianhao and the others stood outside the villa, resembling watchdogs. Seeing Qin Feng coming down, Ling Shuang smiled. Met your little girlfriend? Sis, don't talk nonsense. We're just friends, Qin Feng defended. In his mind, he was already planning how to push this queen's sister away. Naturally, he couldn't admit to any involvement with other women, especially since he and Lin Yutong didn't really have any relationship beyond physical contact. Why so nervous? Ling Shuang shifted her sitting position, leaning on the sofa back, showcasing her beautiful curves. She asked, what are your plans next, staying here with sis or going back to Jiangbei? I might have to go back to Jiangbei. Second sister has given me a company to oversee, Qin Feng replied, avoiding eye contact. Well, in that case, sis also needs to give you a gift, can't let Qingying outshine me, Ling Shuang said, shifting her buttocks toward Qin Feng, nearly touching thighs. She paused, then leaned over to Qin Feng's ear, exhaling fragrant breath. How about sis offering herself to you? Her hand slowly moved toward Qin Feng's thigh. Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat, his breath slightly quickened. Was he thinking of conquering this queen's sister, and she was offering herself willingly? Was he a hero in his past life, saving the world? Just as he was about to embrace the queen's waist and offer his fiery kiss, Ling Shuang suddenly pinched his cheek, coquettishly saying, seeing you like this, you really want to agree, huh? Then she tapped his head again. I'm your sixth sister, you kid, stop having any funny ideas. Qin Feng's face instantly fell. This wasn't playful at all, touching his thigh, blowing into his ear, it was clearly teasing him. He figured it out, this queen's sister was a seductress. Taking charge of the situation, he exuded dominance, ruthless and unflinching. When it came to enchanting men, she was alluring, making them willingly kneel at her feet. Being flirted with by Ling Shuang, Qin Feng felt somewhat annoyed. He suddenly grabbed Ling Shuang's arm, solemnly saying, Sis, let me see the wound on your hand. With that, he untied the bandage wrapped around Ling Shuang's arm, revealing the bloody flesh. Qin Feng furrowed his brow. Wu Quan's eagle claw technique was truly vicious. If Ling Shuang hadn't defended with her qi, the wound would have been deeper. Sis, don't move. I know a bit of Chinese medicine, let me treat it for you. Ling Shuang softly agreed, allowing Qin Feng to hold her arm. Qin Feng placed his palm on Ling Shuang's wound. Following the techniques Lin Yutong had taught him in Chinese medicine, he activated his qi, forming a gentle energy in his palm, slowly soothing Ling Shuang's arm. Ling Shuang could clearly feel the energy condensing on her arm, her eyes widening. Qin Feng's internal qi was actually so powerful, it was incredible. Had he been practicing since birth? After a while, a tingling sensation emerged, the wound was healing. 10 minutes later, Qin Feng removed his hand. The 5 wounds on Ling Shuang's arm had all healed, though not completely, they were much better. Sis, how was that? My medical skills aren't bad, right? Should I give you a massage? Sure, Xiaofeng. I didn't expect you to be skilled in medicine. Since you know massage, then give sis a massage. With that, Ling Shuang lay down on the sofa. Qin Feng said, for a massage, it's best to take off your clothes for the best effect. Ling Shuang glanced at him, half smiling. If you want to see sis's body, just say it. Qin Feng's face reddened, hastily explaining, I'm serious. You know I have qi in my body, it's hard for it to penetrate through clothes. Ling Shuang stood up, stretching lazily. Your little schemes can't fool me. Just then, Lin Yutong walked downstairs. Unable to find suitable clothes, she grabbed a shirt recently bought by Luo Tianhao. Wearing it gave her a special feeling. Is this your little girlfriend? Quite pretty, Ling Shuang glanced at Lin Yutong, nodding. Qin Feng, who is she? Lin Yutong was stunned to see Ling Shuang, admiring her beauty and envying her tall figure. Yutong, this is my sixth sister. Sixth sister, she's Lin Yutong, the one who taught me medicine, Qin Feng introduced them to each other. You two talk, I'll go rest upstairs first. Ling Shuang nodded at Lin Yutong and went to the room upstairs. She planned to stay here for the night and return to her territory tomorrow. It seems like your sister doesn't really like me, Lin Yutong said weakly after Ling Shuang went upstairs. Nothing like that, that's just her personality. Besides, today, she spent the whole day running around with her little brother to save you. She's really tired, Qin Feng explained. She ran around with her little brother? Lin Yutong was stunned, then showed surprise on her face, stuttering, could she be the legendary queen of the Jiangnan underground world, Ling Shuang? Exactly, it's her. If it weren't for her, how could I have found you so quickly? Hearing this, Lin Yutong's face showed admiration, then she looked resolutely at Qin Feng. Can you talk to your sister? I want to follow her. Chapter 21, The Queen Sister's Wish. Why do you want to follow her? Are you also into violence? Qin Feng wondered. Lin Yutong shook her head, a hint of sadness on her face. The Lin family was annihilated, and I don't know who the culprit is. Sister Ling is so powerful, I want to use her help to investigate. Qin Feng rubbed his chin. I see. Let me ask her for you. You're so kind. Lin Yutong quickly kissed Qin Feng's face and then blushed, running upstairs. Qin Feng had saved her twice, filling her heart with gratitude, and inevitably stirring some feelings within her. Moreover, Qin Feng had seen her body twice and was so handsome, there was no reason not to like him. Touching his kissed cheek, Qin Feng looked somewhat guilty towards the room where Ling Shuang had gone. Thankfully, she hadn't seen it, or else it would have been a big misunderstanding. Early the next morning, Ling Shuang took Qin Feng, Lin Yutong, and her little brother back to the Jinling district. She agreed to Lin Yutong's request to follow her. After all, having a doctor around meant timely treatment for her underlings when injured. Her goal wasn't just the Jiangnan underground world but the whole country. Little brother, yesterday sis said she wanted to give you a gift. Here it is, take it. In the office, Ling Shuang handed a black token to Qin Feng. What's this? Qin Feng curiously took the token. It felt heavy in his hand. This is the Queen's token I specially made. With it, even if I'm not here, you can command all my underlings, Ling Shuang explained. Qin Feng was speechless. He wasn't involved in the underworld, so what would he do with this? Just as he was about to decline, Ling Shuang continued, there's a branch of mine in the Jiangbei underground world, and the position of the boss has been vacant. I plan to let you take over. With your strength, you're fully capable. Then, you can help sis unify the Jiangbei underground world, while I prepare to march into the Magic City and unify its underworld within 2 years. Qin Feng was dumbfounded. She really intended for him to join the underworld. Moreover, Ling Shuang's goal was too unrealistic. Even the experts Luo Tianhao brought couldn't handle it, let alone marching into the Magic City, an international metropolis with complex underworld forces. Even if it took 20 years, it might not be achievable. He swallowed nervously and advised, sis, I think it's good enough for you to be the queen of the Jiangnan underground world. There's no need to bother with the Magic City. Collecting rent every month, shopping, doing spa treatments, life couldn't be better. What do you know? Ling Shuang retorted arrogantly. Do you think I have the same mindset as other women, satisfied with just shopping and buying bags? You're short-sighted. My ambition is to become the queen of the underground world nationwide, and unifying Jiangnan is my first step. Qin Feng was speechless, seeing such a beautiful woman fixated on uniting underworld forces. He couldn't fathom what she had been through to have such an aspiration. Looking at Ling Shuang's proud demeanor, Qin Feng couldn't bear to discourage her and could only take it one step at a time. Seeing Qin Feng's dejected look, Ling Shuang smiled lightly and leaned close to his ear, enticingly saying, little brother, if you help sis unify the Jiangbei underground world, then sis can give you a massage. Qin Feng was stunned, imagining Ling Shuang without clothes, asking him to massage her. This thought revitalized him instantly, and he slapped his chest, saying, "Sis, rest assured, what's the Jiangbei underground world compared to me? I'll definitely handle it for you. You little brat, if there's no sweetener, you won't do things for sis, will you?" Ling Shuang reached out to pinch Qin Feng's face again. Qin Feng was already numb to it. He understood Ling Shuang's preferences, always pinching his face. "Keep the token safe, go to the Jiangbei branch, find the person in charge there. I'll call and inform him. I've already booked your plane ticket. Go back after lunch." Ling Shuang instructed. Qin Feng was speechless. She was so eager for him to unify the Jiangbei underground world. He had only arrived yesterday, and today she was rushing him to leave. Jiangbei Shadow Flow Group. This was a diversified company involved in real estate development, venture capital, running large entertainment venues, and financing. Of course, this was only the superficial identity of the Shadow Flow Group. In secret, it was the branch established by Ling Shuang in the Jiangbei underground world. At this moment, the spacious conference room was filled with people around the table. Although these people were all dressed in suits and ties, they couldn't conceal the fierce gangster aura emanating from them. At the head of the table sat a middle-aged man with glasses, looking scholarly. His name was Yang Wei. In the absence of Ling Shuang for the past year or two, he had been managing this branch. Although Ling Shuang hadn't officially appointed him as the boss of the branch, over 20 cadres in the branch had already accepted him as such. "Wei Gu, why did you gather us in such a hurry?" a thin, tall middle-aged man sitting below Yang Wei asked. "Howzy, how many times have I told you? Call me Yang Gu, Yang Gu. Calling me Wei Gu sounds like Viagra. Why can't you remember?" Yang Wei rubbed his temples with a headache. He had established this rule long ago, but these people still called him Wei Gu, making him helpless. The other cadres chuckled. They often made jokes about Yang Wei's name, and Chen Hao was definitely calling him that on purpose. Yang Wei took a sip of the wolfberry tea in his thermos cup and slowly said, "Queen Ling called me yesterday and said she found the boss for the branch and will be coming soon." "What?" All the cadres' smiles froze on their faces. "Yang Gu, this position of boss is yours. No one else can even think about it," a burly man with scars on his face said in a deep voice. "That's right. You've been managing here for 2 years. Queen Ling wants you to step down with just one phone call." "That's disrespectful to you," another man with a horse face and a split hairstyle said. "Old Ma makes sense. Here, you're our boss. We don't recognize newcomers. If it weren't for you stabilizing things here, we would have been swallowed up by the Sun Sky Gang and the Handan Gang long ago. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. If newcomers dare to come, we must show them my capabilities." Chen Hao slapped the table, indignantly. "Yes, we only recognize Yang Gu. If anyone dares to come, we'll beat him until he doesn't recognize his mother. We might as well kill this newcomer and tell Queen Ling it was an accident during a fight with the Sun Sky Gang. That way, Queen Ling won't have anything to say." More than 20 cadres were all talking at once, offering suggestions. Yang Wei's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. To be honest, he didn't want to give up this position either. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Since you all support me like this, then I'll give him a call and have him come to headquarters for a visit, to show him who's the boss here and let him know being the boss isn't that easy." Chapter 22. You're not suited to be the leader. Within the villa by the lakeside, Qin Feng was assuming a peculiar posture, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. Invisible strands of qi flowed through his meridians into his dantian, where they were transmuted into true qi. After completing a circuit, he sensed a slight increase in the true qi within him. He nodded in satisfaction. Even a mosquito, though small, is still flesh. Though it was merely a slight increase, accumulation leads to abundance. Eventually, this trickle would transform his small stream into an ocean. "That night, you didn't refuse me. That night, I hurt you." At that moment, Qin Feng's phone rang. Glancing at it, he saw it was Yang Wei calling. A faint curve lifted the corner of his mouth. Just yesterday, Sister Lu had given him this number, and today they were already calling. It seemed they were eager for him to become their leader. He casually picked up the phone. Yang Wei's magnetic voice came through. "Mr. Qin, I've received Lady Queen's instructions. Do you happen to have some free time to pay us a visit?" Qin Feng replied, "Send me the address, and I can come right away." "Very well, Mr. Qin." We eagerly await your arrival, Yang Wei said before hanging up. Moments later, Qin Feng received a text message with the address of the Shadow Stream Group. 10 minutes later, Qin Feng set off in his Santana. Half an hour later, he arrived at the bustling downtown area. Standing beneath a towering building, he sighed, Sister Lu really knows how to pick a location, to think she'd set the headquarters here. He pulled out his phone and called Yang Wei. I've arrived. Which floor are you on? The top floor. Shall I come down to escort you? Yang Wei's voice came through the phone. No need. Qin Feng strode towards the building. Entering the elevator, he glanced at the panel. The top floor was the 30th. He pressed the button. Ding. 2 minutes later. The elevator doors opened, revealing 2 men in suits outside. Mr. Qin, please this way, they said. Qin Feng wasn't surprised that they recognized him. Since Sister Lu had invited him to be their leader, she must have sent his photo over. He followed the 2 men into the office area of the Shadow Stream Group. Passing through corridors, they reached the innermost conference room. Each of the men opened a door, slowly revealing the room. Qin Feng stepped inside. The conference room was large and spacious, spanning over 100 square meters. In the center was a conference table. Over 20 men in suits turned their attention to him as he entered, their expressions shifting instantly. When they saw only a young man in his 20s, appearing quite ordinary, expressions of disdain, mockery, and indifference flashed across their faces. This was the leader Lady Queen had found for them? Surely this was some sort of joke. With his slender arms and legs, could he withstand a fight? But he was quite handsome, even more so than many celebrities they had seen. Could this fellow be one of Lady Queen's kept men? The officials exchanged knowing glances, revealing expressions as though they had already discerned the truth. A slight curve formed at the corner of Qin Feng's mouth. Were they attempting to assert their dominance over him? Indeed, the tasks Sister Lu entrusted aren't any good deeds. Clang! As Qin Feng entered the conference room, the 2 men in suits promptly closed the door behind him, casting a heavier, more oppressive atmosphere over the room. What's this? Not welcoming me? Qin Feng smiled, breaking the silence. At this moment, Yang Wei stood up, chuckling. Look at what Mr. Qin says. We didn't expect you to be so young. Truly, heroes emerge in their youth. Being favored by Lady Queen and sent to lead the Jiangbei branch, you must have exceptional qualities. In the future, Mr. Qin, we will need your guidance. Qin Feng replied, guidance might be too lofty a term. Brother Yang has managed here for so long, I'll have much to learn from you in the future. Humph, since you still need to learn from Brother Yang, what use is there for you as the leader? A man with a hoarse face snorted. Indeed, what we need is a leader who can lead us to seize territory and wealth, not one who needs guidance from us, another man chimed in. Do you think that just because Lady Queen appointed you as the leader of the Jiangbei branch, we will acknowledge you as our leader? I wonder what means you used to make Lady Queen believe in you. Kid, let me tell you, if you want to be the leader here, I, Feng Er, am the first to oppose it. Indeed, we only recognize Brother Yang. You, this little pretty boy, should go back where you came from. Tell Lady Queen herself that she should appoint Brother Yang as the leader. As the officials chattered incessantly, their collective sentiment was clear, they would never agree to Qin Feng being their leader. They only acknowledged Yang Wei as their leader. Qin Feng listened quietly, unperturbed. These people were the old guards who had once fought alongside Sister Lu for territory. They stayed behind in Jiangbei because they were reluctant to leave. The intensity of their reactions indicated Yang Wei's significant influence among them. Qin Feng walked to the end of the conference table, pulled out a chair, and sat down. Then he leaned back, propping his feet up on the table. Everyone glared at him indignantly. They hadn't expected this lad to be so arrogant, truly regarding himself as a big shot to adopt such a posture. Qin Feng paid no attention to their expressions. He retrieved a cigarette from his pocket, lit it, took a drag, and leisurely blew out a smoke ring. Then he looked across at Yang Wei and asked with a smile, Brother Yang, what do you say? Do you also not recognize me like them? This. Yang Wei hadn't expected Qin Feng to ask him directly. After a moment's thought, he replied, Mr. Qin, although you were appointed by Lady Queen, the position of leader is indeed delicate. If you can't win everyone's approval, even if I force them to recognize you, it will cause problems in the long run. Clang! Qin Feng directly tossed a black token onto the table. Then what about this? Is this also useless? The Queen's token. All the officials' eyes widened. Seeing the Queen's token was like seeing the Queen herself. It could command any underling of Queen Ling. They hadn't expected Lady Queen to give such a precious item to this lad. He must truly be a kept pretty boy. Yang Wei's eyelids twitched as he stared at the Queen's token, desire evident in his eyes. This was the true symbol of power. Kid, don't think that having the Queen's token means you can command us. If you don't show real capabilities, I'll never submit to you. The man with the horse face was the first to oppose again. Qin Feng glanced at him and calmly asked, "What's your name?" "Humph, I never change my name or surname. I'm Ma Bagua from the Tai Chi school of Sini Bagua." Chapter 23. You're all trash. Qin Feng was momentarily stunned. The name Tai Chi school of Sini Bagua sounded quite prestigious, and he hadn't expected such a skilled individual to be present in the Jiangbei branch. Ma Bagua, he made a mental note of that name. Having repeatedly stuck his neck out, it was time to target him. He slowly lowered his feet and looked at Ma Bagua. "Since you're not convinced, I'll give you a chance. If you can defeat me, then I won't be the leader anymore." The crowd was pleased to hear this. Although Ma Bagua wasn't the most formidable among them, he ranked in the middle, especially with his signature move, the Lightning 5 Strikes, which was already perfected. In the underground world of Jiangbei, he had a fearsome reputation. This lad actually dared to challenge Ma Bagua. Truly ignorant of the word death. Ma Bagua was initially taken aback, then ecstatic. He loved nothing more than showing off in front of everyone, seeking attention. Otherwise, he wouldn't have always been the first to speak up before everyone else. With a swift movement, Ma Bagua stood up and stepped away from his original position. Facing Qin Feng, he said, "Seeing as you're not much of a practitioner, let's stop at this point. Otherwise, if I injure you, it'll be hard for me to explain to Lady Queen." Qin Feng, smoking, chuckled. "No need to stop. Let loose and give it your all, otherwise, I'll beat you until even your mother won't recognize you." Daring. Ma Bagua exploded, enraged. With a sudden motion, he charged towards Qin Feng. When he was less than a meter away from Qin Feng, he suddenly struck out. He leaned to one side, violently swinging his right hand forward, unleashing the first strike of the Lightning 5 Strikes. It had to be admitted, his skill was indeed remarkable. His strike was as fast as lightning, reaching its peak speed, and full of power. The air was sucked out with a burst of sound. If struck, Qin Feng would probably be sent flying. Qin Feng remained seated in his chair, seemingly unhurried. As Ma Bagua's strike approached, he casually kicked out. A sneer appeared on Ma Bagua's face. In his eyes, Qin Feng's kick posed no threat at all. This lad was just talking big. After he landed the first strike, he would follow up with the second, surely knocking out all of this kid's teeth. Qin Feng's seemingly leisurely kick suddenly accelerated, directly hitting Ma Bagua's face. The 200-pound man was kicked into the air. Clang! Ma Bagua was sent crashing onto the conference table, knocking over cups and ashtrays. He kept sliding forward until he stopped in front of Yang Wei, sprawled across the table. A clear shoe print was imprinted on his face. With a tilt of his head, he passed out. Seeing Ma Bagua unconscious before him, Yang Wei's expression turned somewhat unpleasant. He could see through Qin Feng's intentions. He wanted to assert his dominance. "I thought you were something, but turns out you're just this." Truly trash. Qin Feng took a drag of his cigarette, looking at the others, and said, "Don't misunderstand, I'm not just talking about Ma Bagua. I mean all of you here are trash." His tone dripped with mockery and disdain. Bang! Scarface slammed the table, standing up and roaring, "Kid, what did you say? Say it again if you dare. I can say it 100 times. All of you are trash. Come at me together, so I don't waste my time." With these words, the whole room fell silent. Even Scarface widened his eyes. To let over 20 officials attack together. This was too arrogant, too audacious. Even the big brother of the Day Sky gang in the Jiangbei branch wouldn't dare to say such crazy words in front of them. Though these over 20 people hadn't cultivated true qi, they were all first-class experts, with many being martial practitioners who had struggled in the underground world of Jiangbei for countless years, honing their skills with real combat. Especially the top 3 ranked in strength, Shen Hao, Scarface, and Feng Er. They were all former members of their sex, extremely formidable. Each of them could take on more than 20 ordinary men without breaking a sweat. As for Yang Wei, despite his genteel appearance with glasses, he was the most ruthless among these officials. He fought without regard for his life. Once, he chased down more than 20 people and slashed through 3 streets. That was why everyone feared and respected him. One word summed him up: ruthless. To oneself, be harsh; to others, be even harsher. With Yang Wei having cultivated a trace of true qi in recent years, his strength had greatly increased, further enhancing his prestige. Now, Xin Feng's boasting about making them all attack together seemed overly confident. Did he really think he was invincible just because he defeated Ma Baoguo? After hearing Xin Feng's words, although these officials were angry, they didn't make a move. Instead, they looked to Yang Wei, curious about his reaction. Yang Wei took off his glasses and put them in his pocket, then stood up slowly, wearing a mysterious smile. Mr. Xin, are you sure you want us all to attack? If we were to maim you, you wouldn't go complaining to Lady Queen, would you? Xin Feng exhaled a smoke ring, then extinguished the cigarette on the table, and calmly replied, of course not. Then he stood up, looking down on the entire room, a hint of imposing aura emanating from him. By the way, just relying on you bunch of riffraff to try and maim me? You overestimate yourselves. Arrogant. Utterly arrogant. Outrageous. Unabashedly outrageous. At this moment, Xin Feng's inherent dominance and strength were fully revealed. Since this group wanted to test his strength, he would grant their wish. You're asking for death. Scarface was about to explode with rage. Already having a violent temperament, being repeatedly insulted by Xin Feng pushed him over the edge. With a roar like a raging beast, he charged forward, raising his fist the size of a sandpot, aiming straight for Xin Feng's head. At the same time, Feng shouted lowly, stomping his feet, causing cracks in the floor tiles. He turned his back, exerting force with both shoulders, and charged towards Xin Feng like a mountain. As for the top-ranked Chen Hao, he leaped onto the table, slid to the side, and kicked incessantly with his legs, using the shadowless kick technique. The powerful gusts created streaks of shadows as they aimed for Xin Feng's chest. The top 3 ranked officials didn't hold back in their attacks. Since this lad dared to utter such grandiose words, he would have to bear the consequences of being maimed by them. As for the other officials, they all joined in the assault against Xin Feng. The spacious conference room was suddenly filled with shouts and roars. Only Yang Wei remained standing in place, not making a move. He leisurely lit a cigarette for himself, then sat back down, his expression calm again. This lad was so arrogant, let him learn a lesson. He could cover the medical bills if necessary. Lowering his head, he saw Ma Baoguo's unconscious face right in front of him. He shook his head, lifted Ma Baoguo off the table, and placed him on the ground. Then, he propped his feet up on the edge of the table, regaining his demeanor as a big shot. Chapter 24, Convinced and Subdued. Facing the attacks from over 20 officials, Xin Feng still wore a smile on his face. As Scarface's fist came at him, he slightly dodged the blow, then swiftly grabbed Scarface's head and slammed it hard into the conference table. Thunk! A dull sound echoed as Scarface's head hit the table, wood chips flying. This top-ranking official in the Shadow Stream group, ranking 3rd in strength, immediately clutched his head, tears streaming down his face from the intense pain. He didn't pass out, but his skull felt like it had been hardened. Meanwhile, Feng's charge was coming next. Xin Feng smiled faintly, swaying his shoulders, and collided with Feng. Crack! A bone-chilling sound of fracture rang out as Feng's shoulder was broken. He felt like he had collided with a charging rhinoceros, the excruciating pain causing him to scream as he flew backward, knocking down several officials who were charging towards him. Die! Chen Hao roared, his feet moving even faster, the speed of his kicks blurring. But this couldn't escape Xin Feng's eyes. He reached out and accurately grabbed Chen Hao's right leg, then used him like a club to sweep around. Every official touched by Chen Hao's leg cried out in pain as they fell to the ground. Finally, Xin Feng let go, and Chen Hao crashed into the wall, denting it before slumping down, limp. From the moment over 20 officials attacked to now, when they were all lying on the ground moaning, not even a minute had passed. Clap clap. Xin Feng clapped his hands, then sat back down and looked at Yang Wei across from him. Brother Yang, your turn. Yang Wei had long been stunned, his eyes wide like bull's eyes. His face was pale, and his body trembled slightly. Was this still a human? In such a short time, he had taken care of all the officials of the Shadow Stream group, yet he himself was unscathed. Such strength was no less than Lady Queen's. Why are you still dazed? Go ahead, if I make the first move, you won't have a chance. Qin Feng said kindly. Gulp. Yang Wei swallowed hard, forcing out a smile. Mr. Qin. There's no need. From today onwards, you are the boss of the Shadow Stream group. If anyone dares to disobey, I, Yang Wei, will be the first to deal with them. Then he shouted at the officials still moaning on the ground, stop groaning, get up and meet the new boss. The 20 or so people endured the pain, helping each other up. Many of them were in so much pain they were gritting their teeth and gasping for air. Qin Feng had shown mercy, otherwise, none of them would be able to stand up. The injuries sustained by Dao Ba and Chen Hao were particularly severe. One had a head split open, swelling into a dark bruise with blood flowing freely. The other appeared as if every bone in his body had come apart, with his back embedded with fragments of the wall. Despite this, both men managed to stand up, their resilience admirable to Qin Feng. Qin Feng admired the tough nature of these individuals, but soon noticed another figure still lying on the ground. Following his gaze, Yang Wei spotted Ma Baogua under the conference table, lying stiffly like a corpse. With a darkening expression, Yang Wei strode over and kicked Ma Baogua awake, admonishing, "Get up, now." Ma Baogua, looking bewildered, rose to his feet, noticing over 20 cadres all bearing injuries. He instantly understood the situation and glanced at Qin Feng with a mix of fear and apprehension. Minutes later, everyone stood before Qin Feng. The next moment, Yang Wei and the others swiftly bent over almost 90 degrees, loudly proclaiming, "The 28 generals of the Shadow Flow gang pay respects to the leader." Enough with these formalities, Qin Feng interrupted Yang, "Tell me about the current distribution of power in the underground world of Jiangbei." Eager to undress Sixth Sister and have her massage him, Qin Feng swiftly assumed the role of a social figure. "Leader, please don't call me Big Brother, just call me Lao Yang," Yang Wei hastily interjected, having witnessed Qin Feng's strength and not daring to assume the title of Elder Brother. Over 20 people gathered around the conference table again, and Yang Wei produced a map, intending to give Qin Feng a detailed overview. However, before he could say much, sounds of inhalation could be heard intermittently. Glancing around, Yang Wei saw over 20 tough men grimacing, despite their injuries. Though they were hardened individuals, the pain was evidently intense, prompting them to take shallow breaths for relief. Qin Feng felt somewhat speechless. Had he been too heavy-handed earlier? Regardless, he decided to treat their injuries. These people would accompany him in seizing territory in the future. It wouldn't do for them to be incapacitated. "You, Scar, come here," Qin Feng began naming names. Scar's heart tightened as he approached Qin Feng. Was he being called over now because he had been too harshly scolded earlier, and the boss wanted to punish him further? But one dared not disobey the boss's orders. Trembling, he stood up and walked towards Qin Feng, while the other cadres looked on in silent sympathy. "Boss," Scar said as he reached Qin Feng, forcing a smile despite the grotesque swelling on his head. "Kneel," Qin Feng commanded. Scar complied nervously, unsure of what strange punishment the boss had in store for him. To his surprise, Qin Feng placed his hand on the swollen lump on Scar's head, circulating his internal energy to treat him. After about 10 seconds, Qin Feng withdrew his hand and called, "Chen Hao." The swelling on Scar's head had vanished. He remained squatting in astonishment, feeling unusually clear-headed, the excruciating lump gone. Not only Scar, but the other cadres were also shocked to witness Qin Feng's miraculous technique. They had seen skilled doctors before, but none had effortlessly dissipated a swelling like Qin Feng just did. Qin Feng treated each of them one by one, taking less than 5 minutes in total. They all felt rejuvenated, as if reborn, ready to devour a dozen Xiaolong Bao in one go. At that moment, they truly respected and admired him. With strength and medical expertise, following such a leader promised boundless prospects. "Boss, let me introduce." In the entire underground world of Jiangbei, there are 5 major forces: the Sun Heaven Gang, the Earthshaker Gang, the Swagger Gang, and our Shadowflow Gang, Yang Wei explained. Hearing this, Qin Feng couldn't help feeling exasperated. These gang names sounded absurdly abnormal, but fortunately, his gang's name was somewhat more conventional. He picked up the tea on the table, taking a sip. Let others be absurd if they wished, as long as his gang wasn't, that was sufficient. Yet Yang Wei continued, "Of course, the Shadowflow Gang is our internal company name. Externally, we go by the Cool and Trendy Gang. Chapter 25, Was I Deceived? Put. Xin Feng spat out a mouthful of water upon hearing the name Cool Gang. Boss, is the tea too hot? Yang Wei stopped his introduction, asking with concern when he saw Xin Feng spit out the water. Cough, cough. I'm fine. You continue. Xin Feng waved his hand, indicating Yang Wei should proceed. Damn it, just as I mocked others for having idiotic gang names, ours turns out to be the same. Yang Wei continued. Currently, our Shadow Stream gang has the smallest territory, occupying just one district in Jiangbei. The Retian gang has the largest territory, with 5 districts, followed by the Earthquake gang with 3 districts. The remaining 2 gangs each control 2 districts. Xin Feng asked, do you have the Retian gang leader's phone number? Let's arrange a meeting and take him out. Yang Wei and the others were dumbfounded. Arrange a fight directly? Isn't that a bit too reckless? Boss, that's not a good idea. The Retian gang is much stronger than us, with over 2,000 members. We can't match them. The other members nodded vigorously in agreement. Xin Feng sighed. It's remarkable that they can even hold on to one district with this level of understanding. I meant to lure the Retian gang leader out and take him down myself. Without their leader, wouldn't it be easy to annex their territory? Everyone was taken aback this could work. Given Xin Feng's demonstrated strength, it might actually be possible. However, Yang Wei frowned. Zhao Retian is extremely cautious. He never answers unknown calls and rarely goes out. When he does, he's always surrounded by a dozen experts. The Dominator gang tried to assassinate him before but failed. This method won't work. Xin Feng rubbed his chin. If what Yang Wei said is true, a swift resolution is out of the question. If that's the case, gather our brothers. We'll take down their territories one district at a time, Xin Feng suggested. In Jiangnan, Ling Shuang achieved success this way. My strength surpasses hers, this should be feasible. Boss, that's also very difficult. Our Shadow Stream gang only has 28 members left. The others have been poached by other gangs. With just us, we won't stand a chance, Yang Wei said with a pained expression. Xin Feng almost spat out blood. A gang with only 28 people? Are you kidding me? Was this really the branch 6th sister established in Jiangbei? Xin Feng felt he might have been duped. When I arrived, there were many people in the office. And the ones in black suits who opened the door for me, aren't they our members? Yang Wei, embarrassed, replied, they are hired for appearances. Xin Feng was speechless. This method also won't work. Though he is strong, he can't take on thousands alone. Ultimately, his power is insufficient. Xin Feng scratched his head in frustration. No wonder 6th sister fled to Jiangnan. Jiangbei is indeed a mess. He realized he had been blinded by lust, agreeing to take on this thankless task. Do you have any strategies to quickly unify Jiangbei's underground world? Xin Feng, out of ideas, relied on these 28 people. They should have some plans after surviving in Jiangbei for so long. The 28 looked at each other, then lowered their heads. Fighting and killing, they can manage, devising strategies, not so much. After thinking for a while, Yang Wei said, 10 days from now is Zhao Retian's birthday. He usually throws a big party. There might be a chance then. Xin Feng's eyes lit up. Then we'll crash his birthday party. Once we seize the Retian gang's territory, the other 3 gangs won't be a threat. Our Shadow Stream gang will then rule Jiangbei's underworld, and you'll all enjoy unprecedented glory. His words ignited a fire in their hearts. Since Queen Ling left, their territory had been shrinking. Now they had no underlings left. They felt frustrated, powerless against stronger forces. But now Xin Feng was here to lead them back to glory. Even though they were middle-aged, their youthful fervor reignited. I knew you had great ambitions, boss. We've waited so long for this day, Yang Wei said excitedly. All right, that's enough for today. Rest up, everyone. In 10 days, we'll make our mark. After encouraging them, Xin Feng left under their admiring, respectful, and awed gazes. Exiting the company, Xin Feng rubbed his face. Maintaining a stern demeanor in front of a group of middle-aged men was exhausting, but at least they were now motivated to follow him. He murmured, 6th sister, I'm doing this for your dream. You owe me one for this. Back at the villa, Xin Feng prepared to train hard. Facing the Ritan gang, he only knew the leader's name and nothing else. He needed to improve his skills to ensure a successful assassination. Sitting atop the villa, he placed his hands on his knees and began practicing the Ascending Dragon Chaos technique. A dragon shape faintly appeared behind him as streams of spiritual energy from the heavens and earth gathered, entering his body, enhancing his true chi. Martial cultivation is divided into 9 realms: chi introduction, meridians unblocking, liquid condensation, true essence, profound core, transcendence, deity shaping, martial sovereign, and Saint King. Each realm has 9 levels. Beyond the Saint King realm, no higher stages have been discovered on Earth. Qin Feng was currently in the early stage of the meridians unblocking realm, having unblocked 3 meridians. Once he unblocked all 12 regular meridians and 8 extraordinary meridians, his dantian would become as vast as a sea, allowing him to break through to the next realm. Each unblocked meridian enabled the release of true chi. The 6 veins divine sword technique originated from this. His true chi was like a small stream, far from a sea. Fortunately, the dragon spirit behind him constantly absorbed spiritual energy, allowing him to cultivate even while eating and sleeping, significantly reducing his training time. After completing a major cycle, Qin Feng began practicing his body techniques and martial skills. The Ascending Dragon Chaos technique encompassed a vast range of knowledge, including body techniques, martial skills, formations, weapon refining, and alchemy. After 2 days of training, Qin Feng felt his strength had improved considerably. "That night, you didn't refuse me. That night, I hurt you." His phone rang. To his surprise, it was his second sister, Muya. He had never met her before. Why would she call him now? Chapter 26, You Have a Big Problem. "Xiaofeng, do you have time today?" On the phone, Muya's voice was slightly husky, carrying a captivating quality. "Yes, second sister, is there something you need?" "Indeed, there's a small matter I need your help with. If you're free, could you come to the hospital?" After hanging up, Qin Feng felt a surge of excitement. His second sister was quite remarkable. She was the deputy director of Jiangbei First People's Hospital and a department head at Jiangbei Medical University. What could she possibly want with him? Considering how his eldest, third, fourth, and sixth sisters had all given him gifts, he wondered if his second sister had a present for him too. What could it be? A house, a car, money? Qin Feng daydreamed, but then realized he didn't really lack any of these things. Ah, what a dilemma. Receiving such gifts no longer felt exciting. Feeling a bit conceited, he took a shower, sprayed on some Bulgari men's cologne, donned a suit, and drove his Santana to the hospital. At the deputy director's office, Qin Feng knocked on the door. Hearing Muya's voice, he entered. Muya was sitting behind her desk, smiling warmly at him. She was undeniably a top-tier beauty, with large eyes, a high nose bridge, and fair skin that gave her a mixed-race appearance. Her gold-rimmed glasses added to her intellectual charm. Even though her white coat was loose, it couldn't hide her voluptuous figure. At 25, she was at the peak of her beauty. The thought of such a flower being picked by some pig in the future made Qin Feng a bit displeased. "Xiaofeng, what would you like to drink?" Muya stood up, her smile radiant. "Green tea, please." Qin Feng sat down, feeling that her smile had a hint of mischief. "Second sister, what do you need me for today?" "It's nothing major." Muya brewed some green tea and brought it over, sitting down beside him. She said softly, "My mentor's daughter has just graduated from medical school and is interning with me. However, these 2 girls have a peculiar issue. They do fine assisting me with surgeries on female patients, but they freeze up with male patients. To this day, they haven't performed a single surgery on a man. So, I called you here." "Wait a minute," Qin Feng interrupted, looking at her oddly. "Second sister, you don't mean to use me for their practice, do you?" Muya smiled without saying anything. Qin Feng swallowed hard, feeling bitter. "Second sister, I think your students might have psychological issues. They should see a therapist. Besides, I'm not sick. The hospital has plenty of patients for practice." "You're right. I did take them to see a therapist, and they checked out fine. They just have an aversion to seeing male bodies, so they've been avoiding it. We had a volunteer for today, but he cancelled last minute. So, I need you to step in." Muya explained patiently. "But I'm not sick." "It's not like you can just cut me open for them to practice stitches," Qin Feng said, feeling at a loss. He had come expecting a gift, not to be a guinea pig. No, Xiaofeng, you're mistaken. You do have a problem, a serious one. If untreated, it will cause your future wife much discomfort, Bai Muya said earnestly. Xin Feng was taken aback. He had a serious problem? And it would affect his future wife? Second sister, what problem do I have? Phimosis. Bai Muya stated firmly. Xin Feng? He was stunned into silence, staring at Bai Muya in disbelief. He never expected her to bring up such an issue. Don't be embarrassed, Xiaofeng. 90% of men have this problem. A simple procedure can fix it. I noticed it when I bathed you before. While it's not completely covered, it's enough to cause problems. It's quite unsanitary and could give your future wife infections, Bai Muya explained patiently, mistaking his shock for reluctance. Xin Feng felt like he had been struck by lightning. He came here dressed in expensive cologne and a brand-name suit, expecting a gift. Instead, his second sister wanted to operate on his phimosis, with her students observing. How disheartening to realize he was just a tool in his second sister's eyes. Seeing Qin Feng's changing expression and his hesitation, Bai Muya bit her lip, moved closer, and whispered, "If you agree to this, I'll grant you a favor in return." Ha! Qin Feng perked up immediately, excited. Second sister, are you serious? Bai Muya blushed slightly and nodded, adding, "But it has to be something I'm willing to do." Qin Feng's excitement deflated like a balloon. Great, she would never agree to his ulterior thoughts. Xiaofeng, please help me this once. It's for your own good too, Bai Muya suddenly spoke in a cutesy tone, almost coquettish. Qin Feng got goosebumps all over. He never expected his intellectual second sister to act like this. But it felt so good. Alright, since you're my second sister, just this once. Qin Feng nodded. Xiaofeng, you're the best. I'll call my students in now so you can get acquainted. Bai Muya seemed less like a deputy director and more like a doting older sister. We need to get acquainted? Qin Feng was taken aback. Wouldn't it be more awkward if they got familiar before he undressed? Yes, they need to get comfortable with you to avoid feeling repulsed when seeing a male body, Bai Muya explained, dialing a number on her desk phone. Soon, there was a knock at the door. Two interns, both in white coats and wearing masks, walked in. Eileen, Ilan, take off your masks. This is my brother, Qin Feng. Get to know each other, Bai Muya instructed. The two interns removed their masks, smiled at Qin Feng, and he was stunned. They were identical twins, with the same looks, height, and even measurements. Moreover, their appearance was pure and innocent, comparable to third sister's first love face. These were exceptional twins. Chapter 27, The Essence of Nature. Hello, Mr. Qin. I am Yilan, and this is my sister, Ilan, the woman on the left said, her voice as clear and melodious as a mountain stream. You all chat for a bit, I'll go check on things, Bai Muya said, leaving the office to Qin Feng and the Yi sisters. Mr. Qin, thank you for coming to help us overcome this hurdle. After the surgery, we would like to treat you to a meal, Ilan spoke, her voice equally pleasing. Qin Feng couldn't help but feel it was a pity. With such stunning looks, why become doctors? They could easily thrive in the entertainment industry. Clearly, they could live off their looks, yet they chose to rely on their talent, which made Qin Feng admire them even more. He flashed a charming smile. Ladies, although you introduced yourselves, I still can't tell who was the elder sister and who was the younger. Do you have any distinguishing marks? The sisters blushed slightly at his words. You'll know who is who after spending more time with us, Yilan replied. Seeing their shy expressions, Qin Feng wondered if the distinguishing marks were in more private places. At this moment, Yilan said to Qin Feng, Mr. Qin, would you mind removing your shirt so we can acclimate ourselves? Ilan nodded, looking somewhat nervous. Qin Feng didn't refuse, since he had promised Bai Muya he needed to be responsible. Moreover, with such stunning beauties, he didn't mind showing off his 8-pack abs in V-line. As Qin Feng agreed, the Yi sisters clenched their small fists, looking as if they were facing a formidable challenge. Watch closely, Qin Feng said, nonchalantly removing his shirt, revealing his toned physique. His skin had a silvery sheen, smooth and flawless like jade. His tall, muscular frame showcased perfectly sculpted abs, pectorals, and biceps, an epitome of fitness. Yet, this perfect body elicited a reaction of revulsion from the Yi sisters, who rushed to the bathroom to retch. Qin Feng was bewildered. Really? They were nauseated by his perfect body? What a peculiar illness these sisters had. A few minutes later, the sisters returned, looking slightly pale. Mr. Qin, please put your shirt back on. We can't proceed with the surgery, Yilin said. That's not an option. I've promised your director, and I can't back out now, Qin Feng replied firmly, thinking he couldn't miss the chance to earn a favor from Bai Muya. Mr. Qin, we truly can't overcome this problem, Yilan added. Seeing the sisters looking as if they were gravely ill, Qin Feng had an idea. Since they repelled male bodies, he would use an extreme method to desensitize them. Forgive me, ladies, he said, moving swiftly to pull the sisters into his arms, pressing their faces against his chest to feel his body intimately. The sisters screamed, trying to break free, but they were no match for Qin Feng. Soon, they noticed a natural scent from Qin Feng's body that was oddly comforting, and his skin was astonishingly smooth, softer than a newborn's. Closing their eyes, they inhaled deeply, finding the scent soothing. Mysteriously, they both took a gentle bite. Qin Feng felt a jolt of electricity course through his body, stunned by their action. Were these sisters into something peculiar? However, seeing they didn't resist his body, he relaxed, having succeeded in overcoming their aversion. Releasing them, he smiled. Now, have you overcome your psychological barrier? Blushing, the sisters murmured, Thank you, Mr. Qin. We're ready to proceed with the surgery. Now it was Qin Feng's turn to feel a bit embarrassed. After all, he would have to strip down for 3 beautiful women to examine and touch, a situation he found both thrilling and awkward. He called Bai Muya back, and the 4 headed to the operating room. Don't worry, just relax. This surgery is simple. Watch me do it once, and you'll be able to practice later, Bai Muya said while anesthetizing Qin Feng. Initially nauseated by Qin Feng's body, the sisters soon made a surprising move that left Bai Muya dumbfounded. They stepped forward, deeply inhaled the natural scent from Qin Feng's body, and their disgust vanished his. It's frightening, Yilan whispered to Yilin, eyeing Qin Feng's physique. Maybe that's how men are, Yilin replied, glancing over. Hearing them, Qin Feng was about to boast about his exceptional physique when Bai Muya instructed, Yilin, you shave him. Blushing, Yilin quickly composed herself and shaved Qin Feng meticulously. Bai Muya then explained the procedure, performing it skillfully. Numbed by anesthesia and being touched all over, Qin Feng barely felt anything. Soon, the surgery was over, and he was bandaged up. The sisters, though enduring a brief but intense ordeal, sighed in relief. Despite the short duration, it was incredibly challenging for them, even causing Bai Muya to blush. What an absurd situation! Yet seeing the sisters no longer feeling nauseous, Bai Muya accepted their method. After the surgery, the sisters felt a peculiar affection for Qin Feng, being the first man they'd seen fully unclothed. Don't forget to thank me when you become surgical experts. I am your mentor, after all, Qin Feng joked as they left the operating room. Blushing, the sisters smiled sweetly at Qin Feng. We will treat you to a meal sometime, Yilin said. After a brief chat, the sisters departed, and Qin Feng returned to the office with Bai Muya. Closing the door, he rubbed his hands together and said, I've fulfilled my promise. Now, it's time for you to keep yours. What do you want me to do? Bai Muya asked nervously, seeing Qin Feng's slightly predatory gaze. Give me a kiss, he said, pointing to his cheek. Stunned, Bai Muya was relieved it was a simple request, having feared he would ask for something outrageous. At least the boy hadn't gone too far. Chapter 28, The Eldest Sister's Gift. Qin Feng leaned in, his heart racing. This was his first proper meeting with Bai Muya, and asking her for a kiss might make him seem unserious. Bai Muya removed her glasses, took a deep breath, and looked at Qin Feng's handsome profile, reminding herself that despite him being like a brother, they shared no blood relation. Then, she quickly pecked his cheek, put her glasses back on, and calmly said, Done. That's it? Qin Feng barely felt a thing. It was nothing more than a mosquito bite. He glanced at Bai Muya, who had already immersed herself in a medical journal. Sighing, he thought, she's certainly very rational, handling scalpels daily, no wonder. I'll take it slow. Second sister, if there's nothing else, I'll head back. Remember, avoid bathing in spicy food. Come back in half a month to have the stitches removed, Bai Muya instructed. Qin Feng nodded and left. Once he was gone, Bai Muya clutched her chest. Her heart had nearly leaped out when she kissed his cheek. Having never been in a relationship, she managed to stay composed and complete the task. That cheeky brother, trying to take advantage, she would deal with him next time. Bai Muya, being reserved, wouldn't express her feelings openly, but once ignited by Qin Feng, she'd be unstoppable. Back at the villa, Qin Feng removed the bandage from his groin, examining the wound. It had healed perfectly. Just as he was about to resume his training, his phone rang. It was his elder sister. He quickly answered. "Little brother, I found Wang Guodong." Shen Ruobing's cool voice came through the line. Qin Feng's eyes narrowed. He would not let go of the man who had betrayed him and caused his death. "Where is he?" "He has fled to the south of Yunling, heading towards the Golden Triangle. My people are en route to intercept him." "No need, big sis. Just give me the address. This revenge is mine to take." There was a silence before Shen Ruobing spoke again. "Little brother, the Golden Triangle is extremely dangerous, filled with warlords and drug lords. It's not safe for you to go alone." "Don't worry, sis. I'm not who I used to be. I can protect myself," Qin Feng replied, touched by her concern, "but some matters had to be handled personally. Given Wang Guodong's escape route, he might know people in that lawless region. He didn't want to drag his sister into it." The phone was silent again, and a minute later, Shen Ruobing spoke with a hint of resignation. "Wait at home. I'll send a plane to take you there. Remember, if it's too dangerous, prioritize your safety over revenge. We just found you after so long." Her words trailed off, trusting Qin Feng to understand. "Don't worry, sis. I'll come back safely." After hanging up, half an hour later, Shen Ruobing's private seaplane landed on the lake. Qin Feng marveled at her wealth. Owning a seaplane was impressive, befitting a billionaire. On board, the pilot said, "Mr. Qin, there's a box to your left that the boss prepared for you. You might find it useful." Qin Feng retrieved the box and found a menacingly designed dagger inside. It was dark green, slightly curved, about 5 inches long with serrated edges, the blade glistening coldly. The handle was intricately carved, ending in a dragon head. The blade bore the inscription Dragon Feng. Qin Feng immediately loved it. What a cool gift from his sister. Just what he needed. Alongside the dagger was a pouch, which he strapped to his thigh, perfectly concealing the blade as if it were just an extra pocket. At the bottom of the box was a large bundle of cash and a backpack. He packed the money, grateful for his sister's thoughtfulness. 2 hours later, the pilot woke Qin Feng from his meditation. "Mr. Qin, we've reached the closest town to the Golden Triangle, Raoshi Town. It's in a state of anarchy. Wang Guodong is here, but we can't land, so you'll have to parachute down. If you're ready, let me know, and I'll open the hatch." Qin Feng nodded, prepared the parachute under the pilot's guidance, and signaled he was ready. The hatch opened, the high-altitude wind howling fiercely. Qin Feng took a deep breath and jumped. He felt a rush of fear. It was his first time skydiving, and he hoped the parachute would open. Falling, he mimicked the skydiving moves he'd seen in games, arms and legs spread out like a frog. At 5,000 meters, the clouds below looked like massive cotton candy. After adjusting, he performed various maneuvers, enjoying the thrill of skydiving once the initial terror passed. Eventually, he stabilized, enjoying the quiet except for the rushing wind. At 500 meters, he deployed the parachute, slowing his descent. Approaching a forest below, he prepared to land. Suddenly, bullets flew from the forest below, piercing his parachute. Damn! Qin Feng broke into a cold sweat. Luckily, the bullets missed him, but the parachute was shredded. At about 30 meters above the ground, he drew Dragon Feng, cut himself free, and plummeted towards the trees. He was determined to find out who dared shoot at him. Chapter 29, Who Fired the Shot Toward the Sky? In the forest, the light was dim. In a clearing, a woman in camouflage sat on the ground, clutching a pistol. Behind her, 8 burly men, all wielding AK-47s, emerged from their hiding places among the trees, sneering as they approached her. Her pistol was empty, and she could no longer run. One of them, a bald man with a hooked nose, shouted, "Run, you wretch! You think you're so great because you're a Special Forces soldier? Dream on if you think you can wipe us out." The woman, named Lan Feifei, gritted her teeth and tried to stand, but a sharp pain from her buttock, where she had been shot, prevented her. She could only crawl on her side, feeling a pang of despair as she realized all 20 of her comrades were dead, leaving her alone with no hope of escape. Look at her squirm. Even injured, she crawls so fast she must have trained hard. Ha ha, the bald man, Lu Ping, laughed heartily at her predicament. Boss Lu, she's quite a catch. We haven't touched a woman in weeks. How about we have some fun with her, suggested a shirtless thug, his lecherous eyes scanning Lan Feifei. Sure, she's useless to us now. Let's have our fun and then take her back. We'll let everyone have a turn. Let's see if she dares to come after us again, Lu Ping agreed with a wave of his hand. Several men stepped forward to seize Lan Feifei. Bang! A sudden gunshot echoed behind the 8 men. Who's there? Lu Ping and his gang spun around, raising their AK-47s. Qin Feng slowly stood up, his expression fearless as he faced the guns. Who fired the shot toward the sky? He asked in a low voice. The men exchanged confused glances. Lu Ping barked, "Kill him!" He squeezed the trigger without hesitation. The AK-47s roared, spitting bullets toward Qin Feng, who had already prepared himself as they fired. He dodged behind a tree with a swift movement. Lu Ping's eyes widened in shock at Qin Feng's speed. He redirected his aim and fired at the tree, but Qin Feng was no longer there. Swish! A sudden sound sliced through the air. One of the thugs fell, clutching his throat, a leaf embedded in his neck. Lu Ping's face twisted in horror. Leaf-killing technique. What kind of sorcery is this? He shouted, fury overtaking his fear. He began firing wildly, followed by the others, spraying bullets into the surrounding trees. As their ammunition dwindled, only Lu Ping and the shirtless man remained. Desperation set in as they turned to flee. But after only a few steps, they fell, blood oozing from their heart wounds. Silence engulfed the forest, the air thick with the scent of blood and death. The oppressive atmosphere was almost tangible. Qin Feng emerged from behind a tree, sweat glistening on his forehead, his breathing labored. He chastised himself for being reckless, realizing that despite his skills, firearms were still a significant threat. On open ground, he might have had to flee. He took a deep breath, his desire to strengthen himself growing even more intense. After a moment, he turned his gaze to Lan Feifei, who was still lying on the ground, watching him with astonished eyes. Are you all right? Qin Feng asked, approaching her. Her face was smeared with camouflage paint and dirt, but he could still see her delicate features. She had short hair, giving her a competent appearance, but her pale lips suggested significant blood loss. She clearly belonged to a special operations unit, and Qin Feng felt a deep respect for her bravery. He had always admired soldiers, and here was a young woman, barely in her 20s, showing such courage in the treacherous Golden Triangle region. Seeing the wound on her buttock, he understood why she couldn't move. Blood continued to flow from the injury. Despite her condition, she still had a certain resilience about her. Thank you for saving me, Lan Feifei said weakly. It was nothing. They almost hit me with their wild shooting, Qin Feng replied with a smile. I know some medicine. Would you like me to treat your wound? Lan Feifei hesitated. Do you really know how? Qin Feng nodded. All right, she agreed, realizing that without removing the bullet, she would remain in unbearable pain. Do you want to take off your pants, or should I cut a hole in them? He asked. Take them off, she replied, blushing slightly, though her camouflaged face hid it well. She only had one pair of pants, and cutting a hole wasn't practical. Qin Feng turned her over and reached for her belt. I'll do it, Lan Feifei said, stopping his hands. She unbuckled her belt herself, her heart racing despite her training in mental fortitude. The urgency of her injury overcame her embarrassment, and she quickly undid the belt and lay back down. Qin Feng took a deep breath and gently pulled down her pants, exposing the wound. Her skin was white and youthful, and despite the blood, he couldn't help but notice its beauty. However, the sight of the injury snapped him back to focus. Determined to heal her without leaving a scar, he began his work. Chapter 30, Do you have any last words? Bear with it, I'll extract the bullet, Qin Feng said. He placed his right hand, infused with qi, on Lan Feifei's firm buttock. With a jolt, a blood-stained bullet flew out. He then covered the wound with his hand, using his qi to heal it. Lan Feifei felt a slap on her buttock, a surge of shame washing over her. But she could also feel the bullet being expelled from her muscle. It was astonishing that a mere slap could remove the bullet, though considering his earlier display of skill, it made sense. She began to wonder why such a powerful man was in the Golden Triangle. As she pondered, a warm sensation spread over her wound, bringing immense relief. The feeling was unlike anything she had ever experienced, as if her entire body was basking in a sauna. All done, Qin Feng said a few minutes later, removing his hand. The bullet wound had completely vanished, leaving no trace. Admiring his work, he couldn't resist giving her another playful slap, feeling an inexplicable thrill. Her skin was smooth and firm. Quickly realizing the impropriety of his action, Qin Feng reminded himself that they had only just met. While the first slap could be justified as part of the healing process, the second was overstepping a boundary. Lan Feifei, however, was filled with delight. The pain was gone, and the entire process had taken less than 3 minutes. It was miraculous. She suddenly rolled over, forgetting her pants were still down, causing Qin Feng to freeze in surprise. Her face flushed with embarrassment as she hastily pulled up her pants and fastened her belt, cursing her carelessness. Yet she bore no grudge against Qin Feng for seeing her exposed, as he had saved her life and healed her wound. Moreover, he was quite handsome, and she found him increasingly attractive. "What's your name?" Lan Feifei broke the silence, standing up. "Qin Feng." "And yours?" "Lan Feifei." "What brings you here?" "I could be your guide, I know this area well." Qin Feng's eyes lit up. Having a knowledgeable guide would be invaluable. "I'm looking for someone named Wang Guodong." "Have you heard of him?" Lan Feifei tilted her head, thinking, and then shook it. "I haven't heard of Wang Guodong, but I know of Wang Guoqiang. They might be related." "Yes, Wang Guoqiang is his brother." "Can you take me to him?" Qin Feng asked eagerly, grateful for Shenruobing's thorough investigation which had uncovered Wang Guodong's relatives. Lan Feifei stepped back cautiously. "Wang Guoqiang is a notorious drug lord here. Are you looking for his brother to traffic drugs?" Her voice turned cold as she drew a knife from her leg, eyeing Qin Feng warily. Her squad's mission had been to eliminate Wang Guoqiang, and she wouldn't hesitate to fight, even against her savior, if he was involved in drug trafficking. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow. "You're no match for me. I know you're skilled, but do you realize the devastation drugs cause? They ruin lives and families." "I'd rather die than let traffickers go free," Lan Feifei declared with righteous indignation. Qin Feng, seeing her sincerity, chuckled. "I was kidding. I have a deadly vendetta against Wang Guodong. I'm here to kill him." Lan Feifei relaxed, muttering, "I thought so. A man this handsome couldn't be a drug dealer, his looks alone could make a living." She sheathed her knife, her mood lifting. "Let's go. I'll guide you, but be careful. Wang Guoqiang's men are heavily armed. My elite squad was wiped out." Qin Feng glanced at her. "You don't seem suited for the military. You should consider leaving." "Who says? My dream is to become a warrior goddess, protecting our borders," Lan Feifei declared proudly, puffing out her chest. Qin Feng was speechless. He doubted she could defeat even a regular martial artist, let alone become a warrior goddess. Still, facing over 100 armed men posed a challenge, even for him. His only advantage was his agility. They left the forest, heading east. After 3 hours, night had fallen, and they reached a cluster of dilapidated buildings. "That's Wang Guoqiang's base. Security is tight, sneaking in is nearly impossible," Lan Feifei explained. "For you, maybe. For me, it's easy." "Stay here, I'll go alone," Qin Feng said, preparing to move. Lan Feifei suddenly grabbed him and kissed him clumsily on the lips. Qin Feng was taken aback, wondering if she wanted to make out in the wilderness, but it was hardly the right time. After a moment, Lan Feifei released him. "Come back alive, I'll wait here for a day. If you don't return, I'll head back. Do you have any last words for your family? I can deliver them." Qin Feng rolled his eyes. Was she cursing him? But he considered the possibility of failure. "Do you have paper and a pen?" Seeing him write a last message, Lan Feifei's face fell. "Can't you wait? If I get reinforcements, we could definitely defeat them." "There are some things I must do myself," Qin Feng said coldly. Lan Feifei, seeing his determination, handed him a pen and offered her hand. "Write it on my hand. I promise to deliver it." Qin Feng wrote down an address. "If I die, go to this villa. You'll find contact information for my 7 sisters. Tell them not to mourn for me." With that, he vanished into the night. Chapter 31, Heavy Taste. The old buildings were illuminated by massive spotlights, making the area as bright as day. The surroundings were encircled by iron fences and sharp spikes, forming a small base. Groups of burly men with guns patrolled the area, and 2 tanks, though outdated, stood menacingly at the front gate with their black cannons still exuding an intimidating presence. Qin Feng observed from the shadows, clicking his tongue in amazement. As one of the biggest drug lords here, Wang Guoqiang's defenses were indeed tight. Without military intervention, a direct assault would be nearly impossible. Circling the entire base, Qin Feng caught a couple of mice and found a secluded spot. Timing it with a gap in the patrols, he lightly leapt over the fence like a nimble fox, landing silently. He avoided the patrolling guards as he moved toward the center of the base. The closer he got to the center, the more stringent the guards became. Guards stood just meters apart, each within the line of sight of the next. Any disturbance would trigger an immediate response from the others. They surrounded a dilapidated 3-story building, vigilantly scanning the surroundings. Qin Feng rubbed his chin, thinking Wang Guoqiang must be inside, along with his brother Wang Guodong. He needed to infiltrate the building. He noticed several lit windows on the 2nd floor and some on the 3rd floor, but one room on the 3rd floor was dark. He decided to enter through there. He tossed the mice, creating a faint noise. What was that? A guard immediately looked toward the sound. Just some mice, nothing to get excited about, another guard said. Seizing the distraction, Qin Feng darted toward the shadow beneath the building, almost like a phantom. He then climbed up to the dark window, only to find it locked from the inside. Nearby, several flashlights swept across, forcing Qin Feng to leap onto the roof before they noticed him. He sighed in relief, narrowly avoiding detection. Spotting a door on the roof, he approached it. If he could enter the building from here, he wouldn't need to break a window. The door was locked, but that didn't deter him. He used his dragon-tooth dagger to jimmy the lock, pushing the door open and slipping inside. He descended to the 3rd floor's corridor. The building had been modified, each floor having a corridor leading to the staircase at the end. Peering down, Qin Feng saw a skinny middle-aged man on a sofa in the lobby below, resembling Wang Guodong. 2 scantily clad African women flanked him, their dark skin almost blending with the shadows. The sight was unsettling to Qin Feng. He thought, what a taste. As a drug lord, Wang Guoqiang's preference for African women wasn't shocking, but choosing such unattractive ones was baffling. Their thick lips and prominent foreheads made them look almost primitive. Yet, Wang Guoqiang seemed to enjoy their company immensely. Shaking his head, Qin Feng began searching the rooms for Wang Guodong. He planned to deal with his enemy first and, if time permitted, eliminate Wang Guoqiang as well. He wouldn't hesitate against such a drug lord. Fortunately, the upper floors were sparsely guarded, with most of the armed men stationed on the 1st floor. The 2nd and 3rd floors had no guards. Qin Feng approached the 1st room and gently pushed the door, which wasn't locked. Peeking inside, he was met with an unpleasant sight, 2 men engaging in intimate acts. He quickly moved on, feeling nauseated. The next room was empty, containing only some everyday items. Room by room, he found more disturbing scenes but no sign of Wang Guodong. Having checked the entire 3rd floor, he descended to the 2nd floor. As he was about to start his search, voices came from the 1st floor. Boss, how boss and his men are here. Wang Guoqiang opened his eyes and ordered the 2 women to stop massaging him. How many are with him? 5. Has Lu Ping returned? Not yet. Useless. They've taken forever to chase a woman. Boss, they're probably enjoying themselves. The local women here are tiresome. Humph, they'll die under a woman's belly one day. Where's my brother? Hearing this, Qin Feng's ears perked up. A few moments ago, Brother Dong took an African woman out for some fun, the underling replied. Bring him back. We have business to attend to. Also, take Hao Boss and his men to the warehouse. I'll be there soon. Wang Guoqiang grabbed a handgun from a cabinet and headed toward the warehouse. Qin Feng returned to the rooftop and leapt down, watching from a distance as Wang Guoqiang and his men headed to the warehouse. He slipped inside ahead of them, hiding in a corner. Shortly after, Hao Boss and his group arrived. Hao Boss, a balding man with a beer belly, looked like the type who sponsors actresses. Behind him were 3 young men and 1 middle-aged man. Qin Feng focused on the middle-aged man, sensing powerful qi from him. His strength was formidable, likely surpassing Qin Feng's. The young men also exuded confidence and moved silently, indicating they were skilled fighters. One carried a briefcase, presumably filled with money. Soon after, Wang Guoqiang entered the warehouse, laughing heartily. "How boss, finally. I've been waiting." They embraced, clearly familiar with each other. "Got delayed on the way. Is the merchandise ready?" How boss asked. "Of course. Ah Khan, bring the goods for How boss to inspect," Wang Guoqiang called to an underling. Just then, another man entered the warehouse. Qin Feng's eyes narrowed. It was his enemy, Wang Guodong. Chapter 32, Double Cross? Wang Guodong appeared significantly more haggard and had lost much weight, yet his eyes gleamed with a cunning brightness, suggesting his time here had been rather comfortable. He approached Wang Guoqiang and called out, "Brother." "And this is?" Boss Hao asked, eyeing the unfamiliar face warily. Given the perilous nature of his dealings, he had to be exceedingly cautious. "Boss Hao, let me introduce my brother, Wang Guodong. Some of my business matters will now be handled by him, and I hope you will look after him," Wang Guoqiang said, patting Wang Guodong. "Go on, greet Boss Hao." "Boss Hao," Wang Guodong greeted. At that moment, a subordinate named Akang brought the goods. A young man behind Boss Hao and Akang exchanged briefcases, then opened them to inspect the contents. After a moment, both parties smiled with satisfaction. Wang Guoqiang suggested, "Boss Hao, now that the transaction is complete, why not visit my villa? I'll find you some exotic beauties. Though they may be dark-skinned, they are exceptionally passionate and will leave you with an unforgettable experience." "Ha ha ha, really? I would love to see for myself." Boss Hao, a notorious lecher, was intrigued by the offer. "This way, please," Wang Guoqiang said, leading the way out of the warehouse. Qin Feng, following them closely, was looking for an opportunity to act but was wary of the middle-aged man with Boss Hao. Given their close relationship, he feared the man might be sent after him. He scanned the surroundings and noticed a lone guard relieving himself. An idea struck him. Qin Feng silently approached, knocked the guard out, quickly donned his uniform, and armed himself with an AK-47. As Wang Guoqiang and his entourage were about to enter the villa, he suddenly appeared and shouted, "Boss, everything is in place as per your instructions. We can eliminate Boss Hao now." With that, he fired the AK-47 at Boss Hao's group. "Guoqiang, you dare betray me?" Boss Hao's face turned ashen. "You never offered me such pleasures before, and now you lure me here with them. You intend to kill me." Furious, Boss Hao drew a pistol from his waist and fired at Wang Guoqiang, who was completely bewildered. "What the hell? When did I ever plan to kill Boss Hao? And if I did, I wouldn't have let a subordinate reveal the plan. This is a setup." Seeing Boss Hao aim at him, Wang Guoqiang ducked just in time. The bullet grazed his scalp and hit a subordinate behind him. "Boss Hao, let me explain. Someone is trying to drive a wedge between us. Why would I harm you?" "Explain to the devil, you bastard. Wasn't it your man who fired at me? Go explain to Yama." Boss Hao cursed, firing a burst from his pistol at Wang Guoqiang. The earlier AK-47 rounds had narrowly missed him, terrifying him out of his wits. He was convinced Wang Guoqiang intended to double-cross him. Meanwhile, the young men behind Boss Hao pulled out their pistols and started shooting at Wang Guoqiang's men. Only the middle-aged man remained passive, guarding Boss Hao. "Kill them all!" Wang Guoqiang shouted, clutching his wounded leg. His face contorted in pain as he roared. The surrounding guards rushed over, wildly firing at Boss Hao's group. Wang Guodong dragged Wang Guoqiang behind cover. Though the young men behind Boss Hao fought valiantly, they couldn't withstand the barrage of bullets and were soon riddled with holes. The middle-aged man managed to drag Boss Hao to cover. "Mr. Gu, please kill them all," Boss Hao gasped, his hand trembling, sweat pouring down his face. His only hope now lay in the expert he had paid handsomely to protect him. "Mr. Gu nodded silently and stood up slowly. Da da da. As soon as he revealed himself, a hail of bullets rained down on him. "Ha! Mr. Gu let out a fierce cry, cupping his hands in front of him. The space between his hands distorted like a giant water bubble, absorbing the bullets. The projectiles entered the bubble and lost their momentum, suspended in midair. Clang, clang, clang. Mr. Gu released his grip, and hundreds of bullets clattered to the ground. Qin Feng gasped in shock. This man was incredibly powerful, using his qi to create a bullet-stopping barrier. It seemed his internal meridians were almost fully refined. Qin Feng was relieved he hadn't acted rashly. Facing such a formidable opponent, he might not have escaped alive. Around them, the sound of gulping echoed as everyone watched in disbelief. Wang Guoqiang was stunned, his eyes wide with horror. How could they fight someone who could stop bullets with his bare hands? Ha ha ha, well done, Mr. Gu. Kill these wretches. Boss Hao, invigorated, stood up excitedly. He was convinced that with Mr. Gu's help, he could kill Wang Guoqiang and seize his goods, making a huge profit. Keep shooting. Bring up the tanks. Wang Guodong, seeing his brother paralyzed with fear, shouted urgently. The bandits snapped back to reality, resuming their barrage. Meanwhile, 2 tank barrels began to swivel towards Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu frowned. He could stop bullets, but not tank shells. Yet, he couldn't spare a hand to destroy the tanks as over 100 bandits fired at him. Even with his 12 meridians fully open, he was struggling as the tank barrels locked onto him. Mr. Gu roared. Drawing circles in the air with his right hand, waves of qi blocked the bullets. With his left hand, he flicked out streams of concentrated qi, piercing the bandits like arrows. Screams echoed as the qi struck down dozens of bandits. But as Mr. Gu divided his attention, a bullet struck his shoulder, blood spurting out. He's wounded. Keep firing. Wang Guodong yelled, though the bandits didn't need his encouragement. Mr. Gu was forced to remain in place, defending and retaliating simultaneously. He couldn't leave his position, as Boss Hao, even behind cover, would be quickly gunned down. At this critical moment, the tank barrels aimed directly at Mr. Gu. His heart pounded with a sudden surge of life and death urgency. Chapter 33, Revenge. Boom. In the instant the cannon fired, Mr. Gu couldn't care less about Boss Hao. Facing his own imminent demise, he had no time to concern himself with others. With a swift step, he dashed forward at an incredible speed. Boom! No sooner had he departed than the cannonball landed where he had just been, unleashing a deafening explosion that shook the entire earth. The bunker was blown to pieces, and Boss Hao, who had been hiding behind it, was reduced to countless fragments. Before Mr. Gu could catch his breath, the second tank's shell came hurtling towards him. Damn it, I'll fight you to the end. Pushed to his limits, Mr. Gu, with eyes ablaze, roared furiously, unleashing his inner energy to continuously strike down the marauders. Kill him, damn it, kill him for me. Wang Guoqiang, now fully alert, watched his men fall one by one, his heart bleeding. These men were the capital of his dominance in this area, and to see them slaughtered like this. What right did he have to call himself a drug lord? Remember the URLM. Luo Q. Come. The sounds of machine guns and cannon fire continued unabated, turning Wang Guoqiang's once impregnable stronghold into a scene of devastation. Qin Feng, perched on a rooftop, eyes widened in disbelief. Before his extraordinary encounter, he had never witnessed such a fiery spectacle. This real-life battle scene was no less thrilling than a Hollywood blockbuster. Blue Feifei, watching from afar, bit her lip tightly, her heart wrenching at the sight of the exploding flames, tears welling in her eyes. With such a commotion, Qin Feng's chances of survival seemed exceedingly slim now. She couldn't help but regret not stopping him earlier. Inside the base, Mr. Gu, disheveled and clothes torn to shreds, no longer resembled the formidable figure he once was. Despite his strength, he was wounded, his shoulder, thigh, and chest each bore a bullet wound. If not for his protective inner energy shielding his vital organs, he might well have perished already. After such prolonged intense combat, his inner energy was nearly depleted. Even his speed had slowed considerably, and the range of his energy release had dwindled from 50 meters to less than 10. He was at the end of his tether. Meanwhile, Wang Guoqiang's men suffered numerous casualties, dwindling from over 100 initially to just 8 now. Even a tank had been destroyed, the losses were staggering. Wang Guoqiang and Wang Guodong, hiding behind cover, watched Mr. Gu, gasping for breath like a bull, with a mixture of hatred and dread. To single-handedly annihilate such fierce bandits, his power was terrifying. Kill him, damn it! Seeing the bodies littering the ground, Wang Guoqiang nearly lost his mind. Each of them was his ticket to dominance in this area, yet here they lay dead. He couldn't bear the thought of losing his status as the drug lord. Machine gun fire and cannon blasts echoed incessantly, reducing Wang Guoqiang's once impregnable fortress to ruins. Qin Feng, disbelieving, approached, a smirk playing on his lips. Qin Feng. Wang Guodong exclaimed in shock, his face turning pale as a ghost. Trembling, he stammered, "You're not dead? That's impossible, it can't be." Wang Guodong trembled uncontrollably, his voice quavering, unable to accept the reality before him. He had personally rammed into Qin Feng's car. The front was smashed beyond recognition, so how could anyone inside survive? "Well, it's thanks to you that I'm here today," Qin Feng said with a wry smile, his expression resembling a demon in Wang Guodong's eyes. Wang Guodong knelt to the ground, incessantly kowtowing. "Qin Feng, spare me, I'm wealthy, I can give you everything, over $10 billion, enough for you to live several lifetimes." "Brother, what nonsense are you spouting? He's just a young man, look at how terrified you've become. Can't the two of us handle him?" Wang Guoqiang shouted, drawing a pistol from behind and aiming it at Qin Feng. But before he could pull the trigger, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. Qin Feng had appeared behind him, the razor-sharp blade of the dragon tooth slicing through Wang Guoqiang's neck, blood spurting. Wang Guoqiang convulsed and collapsed to the ground, quickly falling silent. "I'll fight you to the end." As Qin Feng killed Wang Guoqiang, Wang Guodong swiftly grabbed an AK from the ground and began wildly firing at Qin Feng. Earlier, his offer of billions to Qin Feng was a ploy to goad Wang Guoqiang into action first. If he could kill Qin Feng, that would be ideal, but if not, he could buy himself some time. His calculation was astute. Qin Feng indeed killed Wang Guoqiang first, allowing Wang Guodong to seize the gun. But Qin Feng had long vanished from his original position, the bullets missing their mark. "Die!" Wang Guodong's face contorted in madness as he indiscriminately fired in all directions. Swish! Suddenly, a cold gleam flashed, and Qin Feng had already hurled the dragon tooth from his hand like a shooting star across the sky. The dragon tooth struck Wang Guoqiang's forehead with pinpoint accuracy. His eyes widened, pupils dilated, before he slowly toppled backward. Approaching Wang Guodong, Qin Feng retrieved the dragon tooth. Though he had avenged himself, there was no sense of joy. Surveying the base strewn with corpses, he shook his head, ready to leave. Then, his gaze fell upon an object, his face registering astonishment. Chapter 34, The Spatial Ring. Qin Feng beheld a piece of alabaster stone, its placement astonishing as it lay within the vicinity of the ancient explosion site. Understanding that the ancient explosion obliterated everything within a 10-meter radius, leaving nothing but pristine emptiness, the existence of this alabaster stone was indeed peculiar. Approaching, he lifted the stone. Its touch was icy, and it emitted a faint glow, lending it an air of extraordinariness. Attempting to infuse it with his true qi, he encountered a barrier within, repelling his energy. This revelation, coupled with its connection to Gu Yuan, only deepened his sense of its complexity. Contemplating, he retreated to a warehouse, seeking a secluded spot, where he closed his eyes, delving into his mind to search for relevant information. In the end, within the crafting section of the Ascending Dragon Chaotic Technique, he found records regarding this stone. Named the Ethereal Stone, it was a material used in crafting spatial rings. Such stones were exceedingly rare, yet fate had brought him one. As for the barrier within, likely a creation of Gu Yuan, with his demise, its strength waned. After several attempts with his true qi, Qin Feng managed to breach the barrier. Sensing nothing but chaos within, he turned off his phone to avoid interruptions and, following the crafting methods from the technique, began the refining process. The Long Kingdom, on the outskirts of the City of Magic, at the Gu Clan Manor. Within a dimly lit room adorned with dozens of wooden plaques, those inscribed with the name of Gu Yuan suddenly oozed traces of blood before bursting apart with a thunderous noise. The disciple tasked with guarding the plaques shuddered, disbelief evident in his eyes. Rushing outside, he exclaimed, "Master, something terrible has happened." Inside the grand hall of the manor, Gu Qingfeng, engrossed in perusing ancient texts, recently captivated by the art of alchemy, raised an eyebrow upon hearing the disciple's voice. Turning to the rushing disciple, he demanded, "What is the reason for such haste?" Master, it's bad news. Seen your Uncle Gu's plaque. It exploded." "What?" Gu Qingfeng shot up from his seat, his face displaying shock. While Gu Yuan might not have been a top-tier expert within the manor, he was proficient, having mastered the water and wind technique. His demise while safeguarding a wealthy individual seemed implausible. His expression shifted, urgency evident as he barked, "Quick, summon Liang Yue." Before long, a slender, graceful figure with a ponytail, exuding youthful charm, entered the hall. "Uncle, did you call for me?" "Lianyue, Senior Uncle Gu has passed away. He possessed an ethereal stone. Use your chi locating technique to find its whereabouts. We cannot allow such an item to fall into the wrong hands." Startled by the news of Senior Uncle Gu's demise, Lianyue swiftly composed herself. With numerous individuals within the Gu clan manor and her distant relationship with Gu Yuan, she felt only a fleeting sadness. It was unnecessary to dwell on sorrow for too long. Following Gu Qingfeng's instructions, she took a seat and, as a wooden plaque shattered, she received it, her true qi roiling as she activated the qi locating technique. After a moment, her complexion turned pale, her body trembling slightly from the exertion. Clearly, utilizing this technique was taxing. Placing the wooden plaque into a bowl of clear water before her, Qingfeng's visage appeared within. "Wow, he's quite handsome. The ethereal stone must be on this person." Lianyue couldn't contain her nosebleed. Weakened already, she fainted on the spot. "Activate all available resources immediately. We must locate this individual." Gu Qingfeng, witnessing Lianyue's unexpected admiration for the enemy, felt a twitch in his eye. Ordering for Qingfeng's likeness to be sketched, he issued a top-level directive. The Golden Triangle. As dawn broke after a sleepless night, Lan Feifei cautiously made her way towards the base from her hiding spot. The incessant gunfire, explosions, and the deafening blast from last night tormented her, leaving her heart in anguish. Despite only meeting Qingfeng for the first time, she found herself inexplicably drawn to him. Now, she sought to confirm whether Qingfeng still drew breath. Stealthily approaching the main gate of the base, Lan Feifei, like a thief, cautiously peered inside. The scene within weighed heavily on her heart. The ground littered with corpses, countless bullet casings, collapsed buildings, and abandoned tanks, billows of smoke rising, while blood on the ground had congealed into a gelatinous mass, painting a vivid picture of the intense battle within. Even as a special forces soldier, it was her first encounter with such carnage. Picking up a stone, she hurled it inside. In the silence, the sound of the stone hitting the ground was crisp, unmistakable if anyone were within earshot. Yet, after waiting for a while, no one emerged. Qingfeng. Carefully entering the base, Lan Feifei picked up an AK from the ground, softly calling out as she walked. However, after scouring the entire base, all she found was a backpack Qingfeng had left behind. Finally, she arrived at the warehouse, the only place untouched by the chaos. Qingfeng. Calling out at the entrance yielded no response. Disheartened, she searched inside before emerging with a crestfallen expression. Her face twisted with grief and indignation, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her first love had been snatched away before it even began. A suffocating feeling gripped her chest, almost rendering her breathless. Glancing at the address in her palm, she murmured, "Qingfeng, rest assured, I will carry out your final wishes." Within the base, after 2 days of effort, Qingfeng finally completed the crafting of the spatial ring. Though small, spanning only a dozen square meters, it was sufficient for his needs. With a thought, the dragon's tooth in front of him vanished. Another thought, and it reappeared in his hand. Qingfeng couldn't contain his joy, akin to a child with a new toy, repeatedly placing the tooth into the spatial ring and retrieving it until exhaustion set in. Standing up, he dusted himself off, a satisfied smile adorning his face. It was fortunate he insisted on seeking revenge personally, otherwise, he might have missed out on the spatial ring. Exploring the base, he discovered a large quantity of drugs and cash, amounting to over $10 billion. The cash went into the spatial ring without hesitation. Tainted though it may be, he bore no moral burden. It wasn't as if he were the one trafficking drugs. As for the drugs, Qingfeng simply ignited them with a flame. Exiting the base, he was bombarded with countless text messages and missed calls, nearly causing his phone to crash. Among them were messages from his elder sister, second sister, third sister, fourth sister, and sixth sister, each one akin to a bombardment. Feeling a sense of apprehension, Qingfeng quickly dialed Shen Ruobing's number. Chapter 35, Unexpected Encounter with Familiar Faces. The phone rang once before Shen Ruobing's voice came through. "Xiaofeng? Is that you? You're not dead, right? Where are you? Are you injured? Why did a girl come to report your death? And why is your phone off?" A barrage of questions left Qingfeng bewildered. How could his elder sister think he was dead? And what girl came to report his death? Suddenly, Qingfeng remembered the female soldier he had rescued, and a vein throbbed on his forehead. He had only been joking with her, but she had taken it seriously. Nevertheless, he felt warm inside at Shin Ruobing's anxious voice. It was comforting to know someone cared. Big sister, I'm alive and well, uninjured. I've already avenged myself and am preparing to return. Could you arrange for a plane to pick me up? Send me your location. Xin Feng sent his location, and within 15 minutes, the sound of an aircraft filled the air. Landing on the open ground outside the base, Xin Feng was astonished by the speed. He had expected to wait for another 2 or 3 hours. As the cabin door opened, Xin Feng's eyes widened. 5 pairs of long legs emerged from the cabin. Xiao Feng. Shin Ruobing, Bai Moya, Su Qingying, Zhou Shuawei, and Ling Shuang, 5 goddess-like sisters, ran towards Xin Feng. Excitement radiated from each of their faces. The 5 women surrounded Xin Feng, bombarding him with questions and checking him for injuries. While moved by their concern, Xin Feng also felt a sense of pride. Besides him, there was likely no one else who could capture the favor of these 5 goddesses. What's with the drama? You're perfectly fine, yet someone came to report your death, causing me to rush back from the City of Magic. If you pull such a stunt again, I won't let you off the hook. Ling Shuang pinched Xin Feng's cheek, spun him around, then released him with satisfaction. When she received Shin Ruobing's call, she was dumbfounded. Fortunately, it was just a false alarm. Su Qingying tugged on Xin Feng's ear, scolding, "Your courage is growing, daring to come to this ghostly place alone. Do you not care about us sisters at all? If something happened to you, how could we face your parents?" As she spoke, tears welled up in Su Qingying's eyes. After thoroughly inspecting Xin Feng from head to toe, Bai Moya finally breathed a sigh of relief. Your bones and muscles are fine. Then, she tapped Xin Feng's forehead. If you do this again, I'll really be angry. Zhou Shuawei pressed herself against Xin Feng's arm, her voice soft. Little brother, it seems I need to move back in to keep an eye on you. Feeling Zhou Shuawei's voluptuous figure, Xin Feng nearly had a nosebleed. Indeed, I'll move in too, to keep an eye on him, Bai Moya chimed in. And me too. Su Qingying also came to join the fun. Enough, stop fooling around. Since Xiaofeng has avenged, let's celebrate properly today. Lu Mei, don't rush back to the Magic City to vie for territory. Stay overnight before leaving, Shin Ruobing said with a smile, concluding the conversation. The 6 of them boarded the plane and flew towards Zhongbei. 2 hours later, the plane landed on the rooftop of the Shanglong Group building. Let's go to Blue Tone. I've already booked a table, Shin Ruobing said upon disembarking from the plane. After that, Shin Ruobing and Su Qingying each drove a car, accompanying Xin Feng and others to the restaurant. Blue Tone was a well-known upscale restaurant in Zhongbei. It was almost embarrassing not to have dined there if one considered themselves successful. After getting out of the car, Shin Ruobing and Su Qingying parked their cars. Meanwhile, Zhou Shuawei took Ling Shuang and Bai Moya to the restroom. Xin Feng was somewhat speechless. Was it a common trait for women to go to the restroom together? He walked towards the restaurant alone. Upon entering the lobby, just as he was about to ask the waiter about the location of the private room, he suddenly heard an exclamation from behind. Xin Feng? Xin Feng turned around to see a man in a suit, his hair slicked back, exuding an aura of success, standing behind him with a surprised look. What's wrong? Don't you recognize me? I'm Tan Yaohui. I didn't expect to meet you here. I'm thrilled, the man said with surprise. You're too happy too soon, Xin Feng replied indifferently. Tan Yaohui? What kind of trick was this? He was too happy too soon? He was momentarily at a loss for words on how to respond. Xin Feng smiled as he watched Tan Yaohui struggling to speak. The 2 of them were classmates in high school, but Tan Yaohui was a second-generation rich kid who bullied others in school because of his family's wealth. Xin Feng had suffered from his bullying. Honey, who are you talking to? Just as Tan Yaohui didn't know how to respond, a woman with some charm, dressed in a sexy outfit, walked over. Upon seeing Xin Feng, she was first surprised, apparently captivated by Xin Feng's handsomeness, but soon a look of disgust appeared on her face. Honey, what are you talking to him about? I feel disgusted just seeing him. He used to chase after me shamelessly in high school. When I didn't agree, he kept sending me flowers. He never took a look at what kind of person he was. Xin Feng was speechless. This woman's name was Guang Qian, the class flower in high school. Xin Feng did have some feelings for her back then, but he definitely didn't pursue her. It was his deskmate who, embarrassed to chase her himself, asked Qin Feng to help with love letters and flowers. As a result, he was misunderstood, becoming a black mark in his high school life, often mocked by classmates as a toad lusting after a swan. He couldn't explain himself clearly.
Quang Qian, how many times have I told you?
It wasn't me chasing after you, I was just helping someone else.
Every time you received a love letter, didn't you bother to check the signature? Ha, stop pretending.
I threw away everything you sent into the trash can.
Do you think a poor guy like you is someone I would even consider?
Even if you're handsome now, it doesn't change my opinion of you.
I know about your family background, you're an orphan.
If you had a car and a house, with both parents dead, I might consider it.
Unfortunately, you don't have much money. Being good-looking doesn't put food on the table. Can you afford Louis Vuitton for yourself, drive a Mercedes, or live in a villa? I just recognized him too. I know about your past.
You used to be the class flower, so it's normal for Qin Feng to chase after you. Tan Yaoi smiled and then said, Qin Feng, are you working as a waiter here? Even working as a waiter in such a high-end restaurant should earn you a decent monthly income.
Quang Qian chuckled, even if it's more, can it match up to my husband's wealth?
When you were in high school, your monthly allowance was more than what he earns now. Comparing with him, you're lowering your own status, aren't you?
You can't say that.
I didn't have much allowance in high school, only 100,000.
There were many things I wanted to do but couldn't because I didn't have enough money. I felt resentful that my parents didn't give me more. But now that I'm working, I realize earning money isn't easy.
Though Qin Feng is a waiter, he earns his own living through labor.
Work is not distinguished by honor, so how can it be considered lowering one's status? Tan Yaoi said insincerely.
This was clearly flaunting wealth. During high school, many students didn't even have pocket money, yet Tan Yaoi had 100,000. He even dared to complain about it being too little. It was precisely because of his advantage as a second generation that he won Quang Qian over.
Was he trying to show off in front of Qin Feng? Chapter 36, Let you show off to the fullest.
Qin Feng, let me tell you, never feel inferior because you're a waiter. Look at me, I started from the bottom too.
After so much effort, I finally entered my dad's company.
I earn millions every month, can do whatever I want, and never worry about money, Tan Yaoi said.
$1 million a month? What does your family do?
Qin Feng asked, curious as it was not a small amount.
My dad is a shareholder in Xianxi Jewelry.
I work as a manager in one of their branches. Nothing worth mentioning, Tan Yaoi replied.
Honey, why are you telling him all this? What if he asks you for money in the future?
Quang Qian said, with a disgusted expression.
Babe, even if he borrows money, how much can he borrow?
At most 100,000, can't repay, just consider it a good deed, helping out an old classmate.
Do I lack a measly 100,000? Tan Yaoi said, looking like a big shot.
Qin Feng really wanted to take out the gold coins from his storage ring and throw them in Tan Yaoi's face. After so many years, he still looked down on others like this. He couldn't understand how such a person became a general manager.
Oh, do you have a girlfriend? Tan Yaoi asked.
Finally meeting Qin Feng today, he must ridicule him properly. How dare he pursue his wife in high school, shameless.
I used to, but we broke up. Why? She thought I was poor. Tan Yaoi smiled at this, don't be too sad. If you could be like me, worth tens of millions, how could you not have women around you? Qin Feng chuckled.
His net worth was already over 100 million now, and he hadn't said anything. Tan Yaoi was just worth a few million, yet he was already showing off. He wasn't in a hurry to go into the private room. He wanted to see what else this couple would flaunt to him.
You want to show off in front of me? Then let you show off to the fullest. Mr. Tan.
Just then, someone came up to greet Tan Yaoi. Tan Yaoi smiled. You guys go to the private room first.
I'll chat with my classmate for a bit.
Then, pretending to suddenly understand, he said to Qin Feng, look at my memory, I forgot you work here.
Won't it delay your time?
Let me go tell the boss, you can serve in my private room, and we can continue chatting. Qin Feng smiled, no need, I'm not a waiter here.
Not a waiter?
Tan Yaoi furrowed his brows, seeming a bit displeased that Qin Feng wasn't a waiter.
Then what's your job now? Do you really want to know? Go ahead, I won't look down on you. CEO of Illusion Company. Pfft, ah ha ha ha. Kuang Qian burst into laughter, pointing at Qin Feng. Do you have delusions? How shameless of you to boast about being a CEO. Who do you think you are? You were a poor student in school. With your background, you still think you can be a CEO? It's really laughable. Do you think saying this will make me admire you? It only makes me more disgusted. I even suspect if you knew I was coming here today, deliberately waited for me. My exquisite beauty is not something a poor guy like you can admire. Qin Feng frowned. This woman's self-esteem was way too inflated. With 7 sisters, each as beautiful as a celestial being, would he even think of you? Even if you were given to me for free, I would find you repulsive. Tan Yahui, upon hearing this, hugged Kuang Qian's waist and shook his head with a smile. Old classmate, no need to pretend in front of us. I know you feel inferior when you see me, especially since the girl you liked in high school became my woman. You don't have a good job like mine, so you want to impress us and earn our respect. I understand. But even if you want to show off, at least do it properly. CEO of Illusion Company, a billionaire big shot, how could that be you? So, what's your real job? Don't be embarrassed if your job isn't good enough, I can help you. Our branch needs someone to manage the warehouse. If you're willing, I can introduce you. No more words, 5,000 a month, enough for you. Kuang Qian, displeased, said, Honey, what are you doing? What does his job have to do with us? Why are you introducing him to a job? Just the thought of him holding flowers and giving them to me makes me sick. If he's here, how can I come to you? Babe, weren't you very compassionate before? You used to bring home stray dogs and cats. Qin Feng is also our classmate. Let's just consider it charity, Tan Yahui coaxed, enjoying Kuang Qian's coquettishness, kissing her publicly, making Qin Feng feel nauseated. Then he sighed at Qin Feng. You see, your past actions in high school have caused psychological trauma to Babe. I want to help you, but I can't. Don't pretend in front of classmates anymore. Fortunately, you met me today. If it were other classmates, they would have laughed at you. Qin Feng really disliked his hypocritical appearance of success. Clearly, he had no relationship with him, yet he had to come over and show off. And this Kuang Qian was extremely disgusting. Even though he had said he didn't pursue her, she still clung to him like a mad dog. Qin Feng didn't want to deal with these two people. After all, his identity was different now. He couldn't stand these minor characters, but these two kept belittling him, making Qin Feng angry. Xiaofeng, why are you standing in the lobby? Why haven't you gone to the private room to order? I'm starving. Just as Qin Feng was preparing to use money to shut people up, Zhou Shuai's soft voice came, followed by Ling Shuang and by Muya entering the lobby. In an instant, everyone dining in the lobby turned their heads to look, their eyes widening. Heavens! These 3 girls are too beautiful. They're perfect from every angle, not inferior to any top female celebrities. Tan Yahui turned around. Seeing the 3 women, he was instantly stunned, especially Zhou Shuai's 36D figure, Ling Shuang's 1.2-meter long legs, almost making his eyes pop out. Bai Muya's figure may not have any particularly outstanding features, but her intellectual temperament surpassed all others, making people want to conquer her. Top-notch. Top-notch beauties. Compared to these 3 women, the former class flower Kuang Qian was just a mediocre person. Utterly common. And she still had the nerve to call herself exquisitely beautiful, more like perpetually hideous. Qin Feng, who are these 3? Upon seeing the 36D figure and long legs approaching Qin Feng and wrapping their arms around him, Tan Yahui's eyes almost popped out, and he stuttered as he spoke, much to the annoyance of Kuang Qian beside him. The men in the lobby also showed envious and jealous looks, wishing they were the protagonist. My sisters, Qin Feng said proudly, pleased with the awe-inspiring effect his 3 sisters brought, feeling greatly honored. Why you? Hello, I'm Tan Yahui, Qin Feng's high school classmate. Tan Yahui, upon hearing they were Qin Feng's sisters, became enthusiastic, extending his hand to shake the hands of these top-notch beauties. However, Bai Muya and the others didn't even spare him a glance, directly pulling Qin Feng's arm and heading towards the private room. Tan Yahui felt somewhat embarrassed, retracting his hand awkwardly. But he was unwilling to let go of such top-notch beauties. Especially those long legs. Imagine how it would feel if they were draped over his shoulders. Watching the 3 women surrounding Qin Feng as they entered the private room, he felt a pang of sourness in his heart. Damn it!
Why should that loser Qin Feng be able to dine with such top-notch beauties, while he couldn't? None of the women he had ever met added up to one of them in terms of beauty. He was worth millions, after all. Thinking this, he regained his confidence. If he could spend a night with these beauties, no amount of money would be too much. Adjusting his suit, he ignored Kuang Qian and walked towards the private room where Qin Feng had just entered. "Ladies, what would you like to eat today?" "It's on me, feel free to order." Tan Yaoi showed off his wealth, displaying his tycoon attributes.
Tan Yaoi, what are you doing here?
Just as he finished speaking, a somewhat cold voice came from behind him.
Tan Yaoi froze, recognizing the voice.
Slowly turning around, he saw Su Qingying and another stunning beauty staring at him. Putting on a flattering smile, Tan Yaoi spoke in an extremely respectful tone. "President Su, what a coincidence to see you here. I'm here to chat with Qin Feng since we're old classmates." "So, you're Xiaofeng's classmate?"
Su Qingying's face lit up with a smile.
Since Tan Yaohui's father was a minor shareholder in Qianqi Jewelry, and Tan Yaoi, as the general manager, had to report to the head office every quarter, Su Qingying knew him. Hearing that he was Qin Feng's classmate, she thought of taking care of him in the future. But at this moment, Qin Feng smiled and said, "This Mr. Tan here wants me to work as a warehouse guard in his branch, offering me 5,000 a month, saying it's charity.
What do you think, sister?" Tan Yaohui's heart sank.
He didn't expect Qin Feng to be so ungrateful as to report him directly. He's not a kid anymore, we're all adults, and he's still tattling.
Shameless.
The smile that had just appeared on Su Qingying's face disappeared instantly, replaced by a cold light in her beautiful eyes.
Let Qin Feng go to the warehouse? And it's charity?
In an instant, she imagined the scene where Tan Yaoi was showing off in front of Qin Feng. A cold, cruel smile appeared on her lips.
"To let my brother go to the warehouse, Tan Yaoi, you're quite bold," she said with a hint of coldness. Tan Yaoi was dumbfounded. Su Qingying was also Qin Feng's sister? What the hell was going on? "Qin Feng, how many elder sisters does this wretched fellow have? Are all the beauties in this room his sisters?"
"Starting tomorrow, you, as the general manager, may as well step down.
If you are willing, you can oversee the warehouse for 5,000 a month. If not, then continue on your current path."
Su Qingying spoke up, dismissing the significance of being just a general manager in the grand enterprise of Qianqi Jewelry.
Thud. Tan Yaoi immediately knelt down, trembling as he said, "Ms. Su. Ms. Su, I was just joking with Qin Feng. Please don't take it seriously." He was full of regret at this moment, realizing his foolishness. What was the point of boasting to Qin Feng? This guy was too cunning, not even mentioning his relationship with Ms. Su. It was obvious he was setting him up.
He felt lifeless, trembling all over, drops of sweat falling heavily. His father had worked so hard to secure him the position of general manager, and now he was being asked to oversee the warehouse.
He couldn't accept it, really couldn't. "Ms. Su, my father is Tan Dashan. Please spare me for his sake." "Heh, so what if it's Tan Dashan?
Even if you were the son of the second largest shareholder in the company, if you dare to offend my brother, I won't hesitate to act."
Dominant. Although Su Qingying didn't single-handedly control a company like Shenruobing, as the sole heir of Qianqi Jewelry, she lacked no ounce of dominance.
"Brother Feng, please help me plead for mercy.
I was wrong.
I misjudged, and I won't dare again.
I can't lose this job."
Seeing Su Qingying unmoved, Tan Yaoi turned to Qin Feng for mercy. Qin Feng smiled, "I told you earlier not to celebrate too soon.
Now, do you believe it?"
Tan Yaoi felt his heart dripping with blood.
"Your traps are indeed deep, waiting for me here. It's over, all over now. 1,000,000 monthly salary gone. How will I show off in the future? How will I pick up girls? Honey, why are you kneeling? We can just quit.
With your abilities, you can excel anywhere. There's no need to endure their mistreatment."
Quan Chen rushed in, trying to pull Tan Yaoi up. Things escalated as soon as she entered. Smack!
He stood up and slapped Quan Chen, roaring, "It's all because of you, bitch.
If it weren't for you, would I offend Qin Feng? Now I've lost my job because of you, you slut." Quan Chen touched her hot cheek, shocked and aggrieved. "You hit me? You promised you'd love me for the rest of your life, that you wouldn't lay a finger on me." Now you're hitting me in front of so many people I want a divorce. Heh, go ahead and divorce. I've grown tired of you long ago. Thinking you could ascend just because of your looks. Let me tell you the truth, if we divorce, you won't get a penny from me. You'll leave with nothing. Tan Yaoi shouted. Huang Qian instantly softened at his words. Honey, I was wrong. I won't divorce you. Hit me if you want, however you want. Smack. Before she could finish, Tan Yaoi slapped her again, followed by punches and kicks, venting his anger fiercely. Xiaofeng, throw these two out. Dogs biting each other. Don't spoil our dinner mood. Shen Ruobing frowned and spoke. Qin Feng immediately stood up, lifting Tan Yaoi and Huang Qian by the arms and tossing them out, then closed the door of the private room. The whole world became peaceful again. Chapter 38, Time Spent with Sisters. At the lakeside villa. After dinner, Qin Feng lay on Shen Ruobing's snow-white thighs, eyes closed, utterly content. He felt quite excited among his elder sisters. To be honest, he held a kind of reverence for Shen Ruobing. The aura emanating from this icy-cold CEO was simply overwhelming. In her presence, he truly felt like a little brother. Yet, it was precisely this sense of reverence that filled him with an indescribable sense of accomplishment. Because Shen Ruobing was meticulously cleaning his ears. This was an extremely enjoyable treatment. With his head nestled on her long thighs, the touch of their skin made Qin Feng feel incredibly comfortable. What's more, Shen Ruobing was wearing a short skirt today, which added a tantalizing allure to the whole scene. Although he couldn't see clearly, the close proximity and warmth caused Qin Feng's heart to beat faster, and his whole body felt a bit feverish. Xiaofeng, big sister is usually busy with work and rarely spends time with you. You don't blame me, do you? Shen Ruobing spoke softly while digging. How could I? I'm grateful to big sister beyond words. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even know what kind of life I'd be living now. Qin Feng spoke sincerely. That's good. If you need anything, just ask. You're my little brother, so don't hesitate. Shen Ruobing's movements were gentle, making Qin Feng feel extremely comfortable. He had never experienced such treatment before. He silently vowed to protect his sisters and ensure they suffered no harm. Alright, I'm done cleaning. I should head back now. Shen Ruobing patted Qin Feng's back, indicating he could get up. Big sister, aren't you staying here tonight? Su Qingying, who was reading a magazine nearby, asked. Sai, I'd love to stay with Xiaofeng, but there have been some issues with the company's business recently, so I have to go back to work overtime. You guys take good care of Xiaofeng, I'll leave first. Shen Ruobing was a decisive and efficient woman. Once she decided to leave, she wouldn't dawdle. Qin Feng sighed. Others only saw the success of Big Sister, but no one saw the sacrifices she made behind the scenes. Xiaofeng, I'm leaving too. The hospital just called, there's a surgery I need to attend to. Don't forget to come in a few days to have the stitches removed. Bai Moya also stood up. Stitches? What stitches? Xiaofeng, are you injured? Su Qingying put down her magazine and asked. Bai Moya smiled. Ask him about it. I'm leaving now. Su Qingying immediately looked at Qin Feng. Where are you injured? Let sister take a look. Qin Feng was a bit at a loss for words, and could only say, I'm not injured, it's just second sister joking. Impossible, second sister is so serious, she wouldn't joke like that. You better tell me. If you don't, I'll be angry. Su Qingying's beautiful eyebrows furrowed. Qin Feng was speechless. He hadn't realized that third sister was so curious. She always appeared cold and aloof in front of others, but in his presence, she seemed like a little girl. But how was he supposed to explain this? Whoosh! Su Qingying stood up and walked towards the door. Third sister, where are you going? Qin Feng hurriedly asked. If you don't tell me, I won't stay here tonight, Su Qingying said, her face angry. However, her appearance was too pure. Even when she was angry, she didn't seem threatening at all, but rather cute. Qin Feng had no choice but to sigh and point to his crotch. I got a cut there. Do you want to see? Su Qingying's face immediately turned red. She gave Qin Feng a white look and turned and dashed upstairs. Xiaofeng, tell me how you got revenge? Zhou Shuawei, who had just finished showering, came out from the bathroom wearing a camisole. The mist evaporated from her body, making her look like a fairy. Qin Feng took just one glance and couldn't look away. Too big. truly worthy of. No, a top student. She looked so soft and fragrant.
Qin Feng swallowed his saliva, resisting the urge in his heart. Zhou Shuawei also noticed Qin Feng's gaze and blushed slightly. She went into the bathroom, put on the clothes she had worn during the day, leaving Qin Feng feeling regretful. The two sat on the sofa, smelling the milky bath fragrance from Zhou Shuawei's body. Qin Feng felt a burst of evil fire rising in his heart. This was too torturous. Being with these sisters, he really felt immense pressure. Under Zhou Shuawei's urging, Qin Feng began to exaggerate how he infiltrated the base, assassinated the bandits, and engaged in battles with enemies. Zhou Shuawei listened in astonishment, admiring Qin Feng and not doubting the truth of his words at all. She felt that her little brother was truly manly. Just as she was about to ask Qin Feng to tell her more, Ling Shuang ran in excitedly from outside. She was wearing a swimsuit, her body dripping wet, her long legs dazzling Qin Feng's eyes. In her left and right hands were each holding a crucian carp. Seeing Qin Feng and Zhou Shuawei's bewildered expressions, she put the crucian carp into the bathtub where the goldfish were kept in the living room, then admired them for a while before nodding in satisfaction. Qin Feng's face twitched a few times. He thought Ling Shuang had gone to swim in the rooftop pool, but she had actually gone straight to the lake and caught 2 fish. Perhaps among all the sisters, her thinking was the most unconventional. After admiring the crucian carp for a while, she turned to Qin Feng and said, "I worked so hard to catch these 2 fish. You better take good care of them. If you dare to eat them, I'll eat all the goldfish here." Qin Feng. Zhou Shuawei. He had never heard of anyone eating goldfish before. Sixth sister's thought process was indeed unique. "Xiaofeng, I didn't expect your place to be so much fun." "After my wish is fulfilled, I'll stay here all the time," Ling Shuang said confidently, nodding. Then she said, "I'll go catch 2 more fish." Qin Feng massaged his forehead. Was she really the queen of the underground world in Jiangnan? Or was she a fishing enthusiast? He had just learned another hobby of sixth sister. Besides pinching his face, she also liked to catch fish. But he was curious. How did Ling Shuang catch fish so late at night? Did she use her true qi? An hour later, the large fish tank was filled with all kinds of fish, and the small goldfish that were previously kept there were nowhere to be seen, squeezed into some corner. "Xiaofeng, come help me move tomorrow." "I want to move back here," Zhou Shuawei said before going upstairs to sleep. Starting tomorrow, she would stay with her little brother to prevent him from taking any more risks. Chapter 39, Pain and Pleasure. North Jiang University, Faculty Dormitory. Fourth sister, these are all old books. Why bother moving them? Just throw them away, Qin Feng said as he tidied up. Zhou Shuawei's room was originally quite spacious, but both the living room and bedroom had several bookshelves filled with books. There were foreign and domestic books of all kinds, numbering in the thousands. It could easily stock a bookstore. In addition to books, there were various laboratory equipment, almost filling the room. Zhou Shuawei was usually busy with classes and research, so she had no time to tidy up her room, making it look very messy. "I won't throw away a single one. These books have accompanied me through many days and nights. They are my best friends," Zhou Shuawei said, standing up coquettishly. Due to the hot weather, she had taken a shower when she got back, and now she was wearing a pink silk pajama, revealing her beautiful figure. Qin Feng rolled his eyes. As a poor student, he found it hard to understand the mindset of a top student. Looking at so many books, he sighed and took out a large box to start packing. Suddenly, he stopped and reached for a diary from the back of the bookshelf, flipping through it as he read. He couldn't close it anymore. It was Zhou Shuawei's diary from high school to college. At that time, although she was a top student, she also had budding feelings and had a crush on a senior named Xiu Ming. Qin Feng felt a pang in his heart when he saw this. He never thought that fourth sister had someone she liked. He thought she didn't have any crushes. "Xiaofeng, help me with this." Zhou Shuawei turned around to ask Qin Feng to hand her something and saw him reading her old diary. Her face turned red instantly, and she ran over at a speed of 100 meters dash. She said, "Don't look at that. Give it back to me." Qin Feng was caught off guard. Behind him was the bed, and he was suddenly tackled by Zhou Shuawei onto the bed. However, he managed to extend his hands over his head and teased, "Fourth sister, it's not like it's something shameful. Let me take a look." "No, you can't look." Zhou Shuawei sat on top of Qin Feng, leaning forward to reach for the diary. Qin Feng's eyes widened.
Zhou Shuawei's pajamas were very thin.
With her movements, her perfect curves were on full display. The sensory stimulation was too intense, causing Qin Feng to lose control a bit. Just as he felt a bit parched, Zhou Shuawei suddenly pounced on him, pressing her whole body down. Qin Feng felt like his entire face was buried in tenderness, unable to breathe, experiencing both pain and pleasure.
At this moment, Zhou Shuawei managed to grab the diary.
With a proud look on her face, she said, "This is my privacy, not something anyone can see." Suddenly, she felt something was wrong. Why was there a wave of heat coming from her chest? And why was Xiaofeng's breathing much heavier, as if he were holding his breath? Being a bit slow to react, she realized what position they were in. Her beautiful face turned as red as Mount Fuji's apple, and she quickly got up, shaking Qin Feng's body. "Xiaofeng, are you okay?" Qin Feng took a long breath. To be honest, when fourth sister covered his face just now, he truly understood what it meant to be overwhelmed by beauty. That feeling was truly exhilarating.
He waved his hand and said, "Fourth sister, I'm fine. Do you still keep in touch with Xiu Ming?"
"No, he went abroad long ago." Zhou Shuawei's tone became melancholic. Qin Feng felt uncomfortable hearing this. He sat up from the bed and comforted her. "My fourth sister is so beautiful.
If he missed out, it's his loss. Maybe he's just a scumbag. Don't think about him. You have me to accompany you."
Zhou Shuawei also sat on the bed. "Sigh, what use is it for you to accompany me? You're just a stinky little brother who can't help much.
I'm already 25. My family keeps pushing me to get married and even want me to go on blind dates. I don't know what to do anymore. Damn."
Upon hearing this, Qin Feng's heart tightened. Allowing his fourth sister to go on a blind date was simply unacceptable.
His plan to deflect his sister's matchmaking attempts hadn't even begun yet.
His eyes shifted as he drew closer to Zhou Shuawei, whispering in her ear, "Sister, if you're reluctant to attend the blind date, I can pose as your boyfriend.
As long as we can deceive your parents, they won't press you anymore."
Zhou Shuawei felt a tickle in her ear, instinctively turning her head and nearly brushing her lips against Qin Feng's, startling her into quickly shifting away, then furrowing her brow. "Is this really a good idea?
What if we get caught?"
"How could we possibly get caught?"
"Just tell your parents.
If they want to meet me, bring me along. I'm quite adept at handling elders," Qin Feng assured, patting his chest. Zhou Shuawei looked at him with uncertainty, pondering for a moment. "I have a blind date tomorrow.
Will you accompany me?"
Of course. Qin Feng gestured okay. Inwardly amused, fourth sister was indeed easy to deceive. When meeting her parents, whether he would appear as a genuine boyfriend or a false one would be entirely up to her. At the lakeside villa, Qin Feng sat atop the rooftop, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. Tonight, the villa was unusually quiet without his other sisters. Only Qin Feng and fourth sister remained.
Zhou Shuawei had already gone to bed early.
After practicing for a while, Qin Feng stealthily slipped into Zhou Shuawei's room. Watching her flawless face up close, Qin Feng couldn't help but smile. Fourth sister looked so adorable when she slept. After kissing her forehead, Qin Feng returned to his own room. Just as he picked up his phone, ready to check the news, he received a WeChat message from his college buddy, Chen Pengfei.
"Bro, what's going on between you and Chen Jiyun?
Why did she say in the class group that you're keeping a mistress and even hit her? What's the deal with that?" Qin Feng was taken aback. He had previously set the class group to Do Not Disturb mode and hadn't been checking his phone much after his recent adventures. Upon seeing Chen Pengfei's message, he immediately opened the class group chat. Upon reading it, he was furious. Almost the entire class was siding with Chen Jiyun, vehemently condemning Qin Feng as shameless. Back in college, he had shamelessly pursued Chen Jiyun, and now he was supposedly fooling around with other women outside. They even claimed that Qin Feng's silence in the group was a sign of guilt and fear. Chen Jiyun occasionally chimed in, feigning a victimized demeanor. She publicly declared that as long as Qin Feng changed his ways and treated her well, she wouldn't hold his infidelity against him. This won her the favor of many classmates, who thought she was magnanimous and genuinely loved Qin Feng. Snap. Qin Feng smashed his phone directly.
Damn it!
Being cuckolded and having dirt thrown at him like this, the more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He grabbed his spare phone and dialed Chen Pengfei's number.